What's good? What's good? What's good? Welcome to Out the Box Talk, our end of the year, even though we're in a new year, right? Session where we talk about our favorite albums of 2021. I got my brothers next to me. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, shout your names out. Happy to see y'all in 2022.
Hey, good to see you too, bro.
What's
Yeah, you know
good?
what's going on? It's J Red. We here, baby. We back, live in effect. You heard?
On my applause.
Oh yeah, I like that. I like
Applause.
we got effects.
That applause is for 2022,
Yeah.
man.
That was needed.
For a new year, you know what I mean? Shout out to you, brother Mark. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Coming off a great episode with the underground legends.
Yes,
Celebrating the
100th
hundredth episode, and
Yeah,
glad
Give it up for that,
yeah,
yo.
man. That's big, bro. I've been
Give it
seeing
up.
the posts on IG, and yeah, man, it's a lot. There's some heavy hitters in there, man. You really, you got them. You got them definitely.
Hey man,
And,
I so appreciate that you and A Level were able to be a part of that, man. That was a big deal, man, to get to that 100th episode and to celebrate with y'all. And I'm so happy to have you back in the fold, J Red, man.
yes,
Sorry, I missed it. I'm sorry, I missed it, man.
Yes,
it's all
it's
good,
all
man.
good. It's all good. So, brother A Level is not here tonight, but he's definitely rocking with us, and he actually sent his list. So we're gonna shout out his list today. But big ups to A Level for always being a strong supporter of the platform, and I'm pretty sure we'll see much more of him in 2022 as we continue without the box, man. But it's a pleasure to have y'all brothers here. This is a long anticipated show. We were supposed to do this show in December, but we halted it a little bit and we are back. And I'm glad that we can get it in not too late in January, right? Like it's still kind of fresh into the new year. So I think it's still good timing to get our list out. I actually was holding out on posting my list on social media or even posting it to Out the Box Media, the website, because I was like, nah, I got to do this show first. It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, no spoilers. No spoilers, man.
Exactly.
They can wait. They can wait.
Indeed, I'm glad to share this moment with y'all as we've been doing for the last couple of years. So it's good to have y'all back in the fold and just kind of look to y'all as regulars to do this show with, man. I humbly appreciate your support and participation in these countdowns.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get into it.
Man.
Indeed, man. So we're not gonna hold the people. To all the people that's listening live right now, thank y'all for tuning in. If you catch this on demand, appreciate you as well. Feel free to leave a comment with your choices for your favorite hip hop albums of the year. And yeah, man, we gotta have a good time with this. Let me start by saying this before we jump into the list. I do want to ask y'all, man, like I know y'all were J Red just a little while ago. I know you were trying to kind of complete your list, and I know it's been a process, right? So and I know hasn't been easy, but I do want to ask, like, how difficult was it for y'all to reflect back in 2021 and put together a list of just 10 albums, your favorite 10 albums?
Yeah, I feel like at first I was like I said, I feel like I was just forgetting how many projects came out early 2021. So at first I was like, do I have 10? And then when I went back and like started looking at all the albums that had been released and that I listened to, I was like, oh yeah, there was mad music that came out. So but yeah, it was definitely tough because there's music that I personally liked. Then there's like still just other music that was like released that was very good. But you know what I mean? There were other albums that I just listened to, just had higher replay value to me. So those were the ones that I kind of ended up choosing. But there was a bunch of music and a bunch of people like dropping twice.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of people like doing 2-on-1s this year, which is crazy.
Yeah, that happened quite a lot, Bro, I have to say, man, in even creating this list, I had about like 50 plus albums to narrow down to. So it was extremely difficult, man. What about you, brother Mark?
Yeah, it was surprising. I thank you for I think there was some way we came up with a list like midway. And if it wasn't for that list, I would have forgotten a few.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, like over the past 2/3 of the year, 3/4 of the year, I thought I had my top 5 in there locked in. But when I really came up with the list, it was completely different. So yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It was surprising. I mean, I encourage everybody to do it, really. Just because it just reminds you of, if you look at the year in hip hop, year by year, it just reminds you, of what was going on. Because now everything comes so quickly. It's just like, a song will be on your favorite DSP. It'll be at the top of the page for a week and then just fade away, or an album will fade away. And it just allows you to cherish things. And then also too, when you come up with that list, and then it's time for you to really, really struggle with, who's number one, who's number two, you're going to go back and listen to those albums and, really listen to them in almost a competitive way, in a very contextual way. So it's a great exercise. I encourage everybody to do. So yeah, it's needed.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. Yeah, man. I had to really, you know how we do this in like two. I know like mid-year, me and you, brother Mark, and I think A-Level was a part of that too. We did a show on Clubhouse, a thing on Clubhouse where we went through like half of the year, and I thought about what came out in the first half of the year, and then I also thought about what came out after that. And it really made me think about how albums get released throughout the year. And I wanted to know from you all, like, do you feel like we had the better releases in the first half of the year or the second half of the year?
That's tough. I'm trying to think of like what came out in the beginning of the year, like which albums came out like in the sequence. But I don't know. I feel like we had a stronger second quarter.
Interesting.
There was a lot of albums that I like personally enjoyed that came out like summer on through
Yeah,
winter.
it seemed like the summer.
Yeah. There was definitely a lot of music, but yeah, there was some really solid projects early on in the year too that I had to go back and like reflect on, that I was really listening to, like heavy in the rotation. So, but yeah, I feel like it was more like this year was more end heavy. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. I didn't think that based on my observation, but I'm kind of glad that you said that because I want to hear what those releases are. For me, first part of the year is always like January to June, and then June to, or July to December. But yeah, I'm excited because I want to hear what you got in store, because I know you got your ear to the music as well. Even though I know y'all be like, "Yo, Krill, you
right.
on a hot."
Yeah,
I'm thinking the same thing. I'm waiting.
I don't feel like anybody listens to more music than Krill, bro.
you be knowing stuff too, man. And of course, Mark, you be hitting me from left field sometimes. I be like, "Word."
That's the goal. That's the goal. That's the goal, brother. That's
I like
the goal.
that.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Go ahead. What you saying? Let's get into it, man.
I was just taking a sip from the out the box merch.
Oh, from the mug. Yes. The merch mug. Yes, that's what's up. So yeah, so let's get into it, man. I don't want to keep the people waiting too long. We are gonna start with our top. We're going from 10 to 1. So we're dealing with the top, or our favorite 10 albums that came out in 2021. How y'all want to do? Y'all want me to go first, and then kind of being that I'm at the top, then J Red goes next, and then you, Mark. Does that work for y'all?
That'll work. Yeah.
All right, beautiful. So I'll go first. I have to say, as far as hip hop releases that came out this year, like I said earlier, man, it was extremely difficult to narrow this down to 10. And I almost want to say that the 10 that you're gonna hear from me today, I want to say 80% of them are likely gonna stay within the top 10, but there's a possibility that 20% of them could go within the top 20, but definitely no further than top 20, right? They're in that bracket of top 20. So because it was so difficult, I kind of had to go with what was resonating with me at the time. But that's just a little something I want to put out there.
Word,
But
word.
my number 10 album, favorite album that came out this year is from an independent duo, a collective. I'll say a duo, MC and producer, who I learned about them actually for the first time in 2021. I was gonna say this year, right? Even though we're in a new year, because I've been saying this year for the whole of 2021. Right. Somebody said this month is the month that you're gonna mess up and say 2021.
It doesn't matter.
But yes, so for the whole of 2021, 2021 was the first time hearing of both of them, and they released projects individually, and they were coming together for the first time in a duo collabo project. And I actually got a chance to interview them. So I want to give it up to Brandon Isaac and Free Mind for their album, The North Star. That is my 10th favorite hip hop album of 2021. And the reason why I chose that is because the beats are just so soulful and boom bap. And it's one of those albums that it doesn't really, it's just straight up rhymes and beats, not necessarily any skits, but just rhymes and beats. And it has that Ninth Wonder feel, those soulful boom bap beats that I really like. And Brandon Isaac does a wonderful job just putting pen to those lyrics and really tapping into his thought-provoking, conscious MC rhymes. Like there's a lot to gain from what he has to say lyrically, but it's really the combination of the lyrics and the boom bap beats that really hit me. And the thing about the project is that I think it's about 10 tracks. As you listen through it, it's one of those albums where you'll hear new tracks and new beats, and you're like, oh my goodness, that actually tops the beat before. You kind of feel it even more as you go through it. So I love it. It's very straightforward. It's not a long project, but it's one of those projects that embody raw beats, thought-provoking rhymes, soulful hip-hop, beginning to end, and it's not a long listen. So I'm going with that as my number 10.
Got you. All right. I feel like my list is gonna be kind of mainstream, but
bro. We need that.
I had, and this is not the superior hip hop music. This is just my personal taste. But for number 10, I had Baby Keem, Melodic Blue, at number 10. I really felt like he just like came in, just with like a really just unapologetic sound, that sounded like refreshing. It sounded raw. Like the songs, specifically the songs with him and Kendrick, man, like they were just like with them going back and forth on tracks with the beat switches. I just feel like overall it was a really refreshing project that, it just had like it had a very, like definitely authentic feel, and definitely like someone that's creating their own sound. Someone that's not necessarily like trying to emulate someone else's sound, but somebody that's like trying to, brand themselves distinctively. Even though he's like related to Kendrick, he's not trying to be, like in his shadow. He's trying to be his own artist. So I really felt like he did a solid job with that album.
Dope. I like that, man. I never got a chance to really listen to that album, really fully through. But I was hearing a lot of good stuff about it, so I'm not surprised that that's on your list, brother.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Baby Keem. Like this was really his year of stepping forward, and really, emerging. the thing about him too, I've just been seeing him in like interviews and stuff. He's a really like smart, cerebral, heady dude, and his music comes from a real like, organic, vibey, kind of visceral, sometimes juvenile place. So for him to really tap into that was really, I could see it being challenging just to kind of separate those two, the left and the right brain. But yeah, that everybody knows that Kendrick verse, that's a hard one to escape. That could put you in a box. How come you can't make another one of those records? And he showed that he made a complete project. So shout out to Baby Keem, man. See, I forgot about him too. So yeah, my number 10 is Madlib, Sound Ancestors. I messed up the title, but that title, I love that title. That's actually my favorite title of the year. And despite all the accolades and all the just volume of music he's put forth, it's still refreshing to hear a solo Madlib album. I mean, for the most part, I think the solo albums, especially in the earlier years, are more like collections of beats. And this one was just really an organized, focused project. And as great as Madlib is, he's still evolving. He's still, ever since yesterday's new quintet, he's getting more experimental in terms of using live instruments, apparently like teaching himself how to play instruments and stuff, just like really crazy. Last year, the Johari Samba unit with Part of My French, that was a real, exploration in like pure instrumentation. And he just kind of he forges a way in just experimentation, classic beats, sampling, an ode to Dilla. Actually, there is a joint called I think Two for Dilla. He goes down that route of just, using his sampling and beat making skills, but also too, the instrumentation with the live music. One of the standout tracks, Road to the Lonely Ones. It sounds like a 60s folk rock joint, but it just moves you. He's pushing boundaries with like exploring all kinds of different genres. He got a song called Latino Negro, which is the samba joint. Loose Goose, which is a reggae joint, and pop rock, which he does this sort of like he's got him like making his own like rock hip hop genre. And I'm not even gonna lie, that I think there's a song on there that probably my favorite beat of the year is called Dirt Knock, and it's just classic, just dirty drums, dirty bass line, Dirt Knock. That's my joint. I could hum that joint all day. And that's just classic, just Madlib giving it to you. So number 10, Madlib.
Nice. I like that. When did Madlib's album come out? Was that like January, right? Was that like really
That
early?
was super early. Yeah, end of January. So yeah, almost exactly a year. Yeah. It kind of floated out there, and like it was kind of like, all right, cool. But I think a lot of us were waiting for more to come out. The Kanye's and the Drakes and all that, and so it was one of those things where we kind of But I can never just like take a Madlib project for granted. So I rock with that one.
Yeah, we got Amin Black in the chat.
Or
and Madlib is crazy. The Snoop Dogg sample was crazy on that album.
Yeah, that was crazy on the album.
Yo, I have to say, that is those January releases are the releases that's easy to do. So I'm glad that you really went all the way back and pulled back even from the January releases, because sometimes you forget that came out.
I'm saying. You almost have to make two lists through the year.
Word. So that's what's up. So we got our favorite 10. I went with Brandon Isaac and Fremont, the North Star, and my brother J Red. Again, he said Baby Keem. What was the Baby Keem album name again?
It's called The Melodic Blue.
The Melodic Blue. And brother Mark said Madlib Sound Ancestors, which was an instrumental project that should be understood if you know Madlib. So yeah, it was cool to get another Madlib project too, man. We don't get that too often.
Yeah, we got it. Sometimes collaborations.
The days we would get a lot, but it's kind of slowed down. So yeah. All right. So I'm gonna go with my number 9. So the number 9th favorite hip hop album that I put on my list that came out in 2021 is from Armand Hammer, Haram,
Mhm.
produced by Alchemist. This was an album that came out early in the year too, not as early as January. I think it might have came out in March if I'm correct. But around that time. And I have to say, I've been hearing about Armand Hammer for a while now. But this was like really the first time where I really sat and listened through their full project, or also listened to their album that they put out, the Shrines album that they put out. I think it was the year before. So, and it was definitely an experience listening to this project. I think Alchemist definitely did like an amazing job production wise. Like his production fit them so well, and the interesting thing about this project is that Alchemist, it almost seemed like he tailored his production just a little bit to fit their vocal sound, and it worked so well. The other interesting thing about this album is that it feels like it's a continuation to their Shrines album that had came out before. So there's some similarities in the sound. But Earl Sweatshirt is on that album, which I know he's actually supposed to be releasing an album soon too. I just heard. And it's just an experience when you listen to this album. Now, Billy Woods and gosh, why am I forgetting his name? Billy Woods and Elucid. Yes, Elucid. Sometimes that happens, but yeah. So Billy Woods and Elucid, they have a particular sound. I don't think it's for everybody, but I think once you tap into the music and you really follow the sound, if you have that listening ear and you're open-minded, I think you'll be able to really appreciate this record. But it was just a solid project from beginning to end, man. And it's one of those projects that I think the replay value will stand the test of time. It's not an album that it's not a one and done. I heard it, I liked it, I moved on. You could literally come back to that 2 years from now and still catch like lyrical gems, or just really get the feel of the different direction that the production goes in with this project. And I got a chance to interview Armand Hammer as well on the platform, and really talk to them about this album as well as their Shrines album. So yeah, man, it was definitely a project that was being recognized a lot throughout the year as one of the top albums, and I think it's worthy of that place. So yeah, my number 9th favorite album is Armand Hammer, Haram, that is produced by Alchemist.
Yeah, man. Alchemist had a busy year. That man was working this year.
More to come too.
Right, exactly. My number 9 album was Isaiah Rashad, House Experiment. Isaiah Rashad, man, is like, I don't know, man. That guy, like, he's so elusive, and like he drops like a shadow, but like if you take the time and listen to his music, it's so like well thought out. The beats, the lyrics, everything like has a certain gravity that I feel like is unique to like the way that he structures his songs, the way that he rhymes. And yeah, he just had a lot of great tracks on there. There's a track called Don't Shoot on there. There's another track called Claymore. And yeah, man, I feel like he's kind of like an unorthodox like kind of rapper. Like the way he raps is kind of like broken sometimes, but it's always really, really potent. And yeah, it was an album that I went back to a couple of times to re-listen to, because it was, I feel like I just uncovered more stuff the more I went back and listened to it.
Dope. Yeah, man, that's what I was saying earlier, bro. I knew there was gonna be albums that you were gonna say that I didn't really get a chance to check for. So I'm glad that you're offering those kinds of selections, man. Yeah,
no, of course. And I'm writing every album y'all say down, so I could go back and
I know.
yes, I like that.
We want to submit our list.
Right.
Yeah, man, Isaiah Rashad, man, definitely a brother who's been evolving over the years, just in his presentation. From the Sylvia album, I remember that was the first joint. And being on TDE's roster, I mean, it's a blessing, but it's not easy. You standing up to a lot of tough competition. And now with reportedly Kendrick leaving, it's like who's going to take the weight? Who's going to carry that shield? And you got brothers like Isaiah Rashad. You got what's my man's name? Reason's dope. And then they're still well rounded, man. Even like now you see Lance Skywalker coming back up and resurfacing on a whole different level. So shout out to those brothers, man, because that's the real, like, they keep it street, they keep it hood, they keep it gangster, but still on the avant-garde. So yeah, shout out, man. I forgot my number 9, man. I'm busy, I'm drooling over y'all picks. Number 9 for me is Evidence, The Unlearning.
Nice.
I don't know. I mean, a few people talked about this album this year, and I'm sure it's not on everybody's like top, but you got to respect Evidence's grind, man. From Dilated Peoples, just basically being like Alchemist's like right hand, being his like his yogi when it comes to beats, and it shows, man. This was Evidence. I mean, he showed out on this album. I think for the most part, he had his hand in all the beats, but collaborated with a few people. I think the Knots, Derringer. So it gave him a little more versatility in terms of like the way his sound was. But I think I've referred to this album as just beat porn, just the overwhelming flex on the beats. I mean, like, and not really satisfied with the beats either. Like, he'll take a beat, it's a nice loop, you rock into it, and he'll just freak it in a certain way and manipulate it to sound something different. He did a nice job in just executing that album from start to finish. The songs were sequenced, I think, perfectly. He's got the typical, grimy underground Griselda, sort of, New Cats, Conway, Navy Blue, Boldy James is on it. I mean, it's just, he's got that he still has it in his bag though. Like, despite working with all these new casts and being in 21, he still got that sense for that underground, dirty boom bap, that kind of like, ooh, that make that face when you hear the beat. So I mean, that alone, the production was what put that on top for me. I would say lyrically he holds his own. But then, I knew Alchemist has been nice since Dilated Peoples for a while. But, the only thing that kind of stuck out for me was the fact that when he's rhyming with the New Jacks, with the Boldies and the Navies, these dudes in a whole different class. Like, they're rhyming on a whole different level than what was acceptable, 10, 15 years ago. So for instance, like Conway's one of those guys, like, I think Krill had mentioned this before. Somebody mentioned this, that like a comparison to Rick Ross. Like, Rick Ross, anytime he gets on a record, it feels like it's tailor-made for him. And Conway's the same guy. I think going back to like, Royce the 5'9's record with For Us By Us and a whole bunch of different projects, the Griselda joints. Every time he gets on a record, it's him. And he makes that record his own. So he definitely had a standout appearance on that. And he actually I think there was a song before that too, just the transition. Like, you listen to some beats and they sound like it's a one continuous song, but it's really like he's just going in and out with the sonic landscape. So yeah, Alchemist, that's definitely a good one, man. It just kind of gets you back to like that art, that ASR excellence, you know what I mean? So shout out to Evidence.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you said Evidence, because I forget who it was. I think it's Ambrosia for Heads. They definitely included, I'm pretty sure they included Evidence's album in their top 10 or top 20 albums of the year. And I did see it on some other lists as well. So it's not a far fetch, man. People have been checking that project, and that's another project that I need to go back and listen to as well. I did listen to it, and there was some standout tracks on there, but it encourages me to go back and listen more, especially as I see it showing up on so many more best hip hop albums of the year list. So,
well, the crazy thing is that he off the jump called it the Unlearning Volume 1. So given the fact that it's probably going to be a Volume 2, so it should be interesting. It should be interesting to see how he follows up.
Nice. So yeah, so that's dope, man. That's dope. So we're gonna go to number 8. And I have to say my favorite hip my number 8 favorite hip hop album of 2021 is Rap Forever's Bob's Son. This is a project, an album that came out on January 1st of 2021. So it came out the first day of 2021. And the interesting thing about me being able to interview certain artists is, and this might be one advantage I have, is that because I have to really listen to these albums, and most of the questions that I ask are based on the material, the music, it requires me to really tap in, and I really tapped in to this album, and the more I listen to it, the more I realize how dope it is. And it's not a project that everybody is gonna get, but it's sort of like an ode to the beat poet Bob Kaufman, and there's a lot of shining poetic moments on this album, but the beats are very, very subtle, and it feels like an experience as you're listening to it. Rap Forever is so talented as an MC. He also put out another album closer to the end of this year, entitled The Light Emitting Diamond Cutter Scriptures. I think I'm saying it right. But yeah, he's definitely one of those MCs that is definitely a staple in the underground hip hop scene right now. And I can see totally why he really takes it there lyrically, man. And you really gotta listen, man. But once you tap in, kind of like I was saying before with Arm & Hammer, like, his music has a lot of replay value as well. Like, so once you tap in and you take the time to listen, the music will start to reveal a lot of dope stuff. But it's definitely a type of album that you probably need to come back to. And I want to just highlight that as my number 8, man. Even though it came out the first day of 2021, it's one album I did not want to forget, man. And it was my favorite out of the 2 releases he came out with this year, between the Light Emitting Diamond Cutter Scriptures and Bob's Son. I chose this one, but I ain't gonna front. The Light Emitting Diamond Cutter Scriptures is also really good, and it's like, to me, it's edge on edge. And as I probably listen to it more, it could replace it, but I'm going with what I've been rocking with for the full year, and that is the Bob's Son album by the Rap Forever, who I got a chance to interview, which such a cool brother as well too, man. Very dope MC and just cool brother, man. Yeah, I go with that, Bob's Son. That's my number 8, right? Okay.
Number 8. All right. So my number 8 favorite hip hop album of 2021 was Little Sims. Sometimes I Might Be. Now this was one that I kind of forgot about, like, how good this album was and how much I really appreciate Little Sim's work. She's from the UK, so I feel like she is not as popular over here. But this woman is she's such an amazing rapper. Like, she reminds me of Lauren and Eminem. Like, she's vicious. Like, she is really she can do love songs. She can do really grimy street rap. Like, she's such a versatile artist. And yeah, like she literally got everything on that album. She's got some soul, she's got samples, she's got scratching.
Street records.
Yeah, like she's got everything.
she's got grime joints, like hard. Yeah.
Yes. And it was really just like, when I like went back and like listened to it again, I was just really completely blown away again by like how versatile and just how sharp her rhyme skills are and her beat selection is. So I feel like that was number 8, Little Sims. Sometimes I might be an introvert.
I like that, man. And I have to say, her video for Woman, it definitely captured my attention when I saw it. I was like, yo, this is dope.
And I didn't even know.
Yes, awesome song. And
shout out to Cleo. Cleo's incredible.
Yeah, man. So I think it was hiphopgoldenage.com, that website. I think they labeled that as their #1 hip hop album of the year. That's huge because they do their best albums of the year list all year round. Like literally, they already got their 2022. They already started it. You know what I mean? So like, it's really dope to see that come out as their #1. I saw that they posted that. I believe that's the #1 that they posted. I know it was up there.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, but like, Jay, you're right though. I think it's just people not knowing, just her being from over the pond. Maybe it's the promotion or whatever it may be. But that, I get into that one later.
Shout out to Nzu Tebow said that Lil Sims is a beast.
Yeah, she's hard, man.
Definitely lyrically, yep. Word up. Go ahead, Mark. Your turn, brother.
All right, man. I already know. Like, we're gonna have a good time tonight because we're going in different directions, different orders. Like, this is great. It's getting so good right now. So where we at? 8.
Yep.
8. All right, my man, Wiki, Half God. Entirely produced by Navy Blue. I've been a fan of Wiki for a while, and he always to me has been that type of artist who you don't really hear about, but just 1 or 2 records away from just like really breaking through. He's just that talented. I mean, the brother, like, New York artist, born and raised, Latin heritage, and gives you a really common but clever perspective on just New York life. Like, he always delivers like sort of a local experience, and that's what Half God really is again. He's got songs like The Roof, which is just about him, like his experiences on the rooftop, and only somebody from New York can tell you about that. Growing up in New York. He's of course a collaboration with Navy Blue. Navy, I don't know, like, I know he's a talented MC, but his production powers are leveling up. I mean, he's really a dope. It's not just a gimmick, man. This brother he's for real. I look for a lot more forward from Navy Blue. I don't really know how they got connected or the hookup or whatever. Because but I guess nowadays everybody's a DM or a phone call away. Wiki, I've been a fan of for a while. Like, I think I heard him on either a LP record or a Run the Jewels record, and as soon as you hear his voice, it's Wiki. And the brother, he's not limited. Like, he can tell stories, he can express himself just as easily, like in probably easier in rhyme than he can in just talking. I thought it was a great just well-rounded project. He's got some cool songs like Ego Death, which he has this like off-kilter flow that matches sort of the off-kilter pattern of the rhythm of the beat. Wick the God, which is just that classic like braggadocio. He got a smooth like New York joint. It's called New Truths. And I like too that the album starts strong and just keeps going. He's got some collaborations with a couple artists. Mike, all caps, we know him. And Remy Banks. Is just a solid joint, man. And I honestly, I did not have him in my top 10 to begin with, but as I went back, just between the production and him matching up lyrically, that was my number 8. So yeah, Wiki, Half God, peace.
Nice. That's another project that I was seeing a lot, especially going through Bandcamp. And I said, yo, I got to go check that out. So I'm glad that our list is a bit diverse. I don't know how diverse it's going to get to when we get to 5, but I think we on a good roll.
Yeah, we gonna rock.
Yeah, man. Navy Blue also put out an album this year.
Yeah.
That was really dope too. I think it's called Navy's Reprise. And yeah, man, you're right, bro. Like I heard about Navy Blue years ago. And shout out to Brownsville Kai, is actually through him I heard about Navy. And when I had my 24/7 internet radio station, Navy used to put out projects on SoundCloud. And I would be playing Navy's music. Every time he came out with something, I was playing it.
Wow.
I didn't know he was I didn't know him and Earl was connected and stuff. Earl the Sweatshirt. But yeah, man, his music. I remember I'm such a big Ka fan and supporter of what Ka does that it made me go check him out. He had put out a project on no, it was on Bandcamp. But I think it was also on SoundCloud with another producer. And it's so funny, I don't even hear about that producer too much now. Maybe I'm just not tapped in, but I would just remember that. And he was just rapping. So I became a fan of him because of his rapping.
Mm-hmm.
And then over I want to say in 2020 and definitely the whole of last year, you just seeing him really just unfolding as a producer. So it's really dope to see him get that type of recognition and just see that consistency, and his beats are really good. So big ups to him, man. And I don't know too much about Wiki, but I've heard about him a number of times, and I think it really is going to encourage me to really give this particular album a listen and some more of his music as well. So yeah, man, I like this, man. Let's go to number 7. So my number 7, I don't know if you want to if this would be called an EP or an album. It's about 8 tracks. I think it comes about like 26 minutes around that time. But it's by a husband and wife duo by the name of Ishan Burgundy and Zara Royalty. And their project is called It Is What It Is, right? So I don't know if it's an EP or album. I guess I'll just call it an album. But I really like this because the beats are just so rich. The subject matter is definitely thought-provoking. They are coming from a perspective of, kind of giving praise and recognition to the Hebrew Most High, Yahuwah. But there's lyrics that also, touch on kind of the state of, Black people in the America and the West and everything. So it's a thought-provoking project, but their delivery, I mean, for a husband and wife to have such strong delivery as lyricists, they both sound like really good. There's even singing on this project where, they do a wonderful job. It's just one of those albums that from beginning to end, to me, there's no tracks that are skippable, and it just sounds like really good in terms of the vocal quality, the mastering of the project, the soulful beats. It's just one of those albums where, to me, it doesn't miss in terms of the overall quality. So I had to give it to them, Ishan Burgundy and Zara Royalty. It Is What It Is. And that, I believe it's on DSP's digital streaming platforms as well as Bandcamp, but I first heard about it on Bandcamp. Yeah.
Gotcha. Let me check that one out.
Good luck.
At my number 7, I have Tyler the Creator, Call Me If You Get Lost. I thought that album was really solid, man, and I feel like it was exactly what I feel like I had kind of been missing from Tyler's music, which is like just more rapping. You know what I mean? And I feel like he has gone into like the kind of sing song lane, and that works. You know, like he does that well. But I just really like it's the same way that I feel about Drake. Like when I hear Drake sing, I'm like, all right, that's cool. But like I really am a fan of Drake as a rapper more. So yeah. So hearing Tyler the Creator on this joint, with who do you have on there? DJ
Drama.
Yeah, DJ Drama on there, right? And it's like that classic like mixtape
Gangsta
feel.
Grills.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So like it was like nostalgic, like listening to it, you know what I mean? Listening to this in 2021. It just reminded you of all the like DJ Drama mixtapes that you've been listening to growing up. Just having that like those interludes like dispersed within the album, I feel like really, you know, like just like added to the ambiance and like to the environment of the album. And I feel like Tyler is always thinking of albums as like a 5D experience. Like he's thinking about how it sounds sonically, how he's gonna do it visually, like how he's gonna just like create a whole world within his album. So I feel like I gotta, you know, like pay respect to that, and you know, just,
that's what's up, man. That's another album that well, I know it got Grammy nominated, so we'll see how it turns out when the Grammys come up this year. But definitely heard a lot of good things about that album. Another album I really got to go back and listen to. I gotta say, there's not a lot of mainstream albums that I listened to this year. So I'm glad that you know you're sharing some of those. Not that I didn't want to listen to them. I'm so tapped into the underground that I just kind of sometimes
stay there. And I feel, but honestly, I feel like that's what's so dope about like sitting down and like and having these lists is because our lists are so like vastly different. We could tap like we're all tapped into hip hop, but we're all just tapped into different sectors of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I feel like it's
all quality. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, number 7, man. Murder Season. My guy from Brick City, man. Mac Hami.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my. Hey, y'all might not know, the world might not know, but this brother is a superstar. I mean, you going to Rock Nation brunches, you a superstar, bro. He's the guy nobody is. I mean, we talk about him all the time, but the world is not even really doesn't really know him. I mean, he's unstoppable, brother. Like he's just, I mean, he can hit you from all angles. He can get real crazy on the mic. He's rapping about stuff that, you know, Jay-Z and whoever Drake are rapping about, you know what I'm saying? But still, you know, keeping it real good and real gritty. It was nice to see him get back with Griselda. They had some type of, I guess, falling out or whatever. So it was cool to see them get back. Cool to see the chemistry that he has with with Westside. They have a this song. I mean, they've done a few songs together this year, and it's just that. I mean, even the tones in their voices, just Westside with that high pitch, and just you know, Mock with the real, you know, gutter, calm, almost conversational, you know, rap style. Was great to see. Of course, with Griselda, you know, you come with, you know, the production, the Camouflage Monks, and I think Derringer, and a few conductor joints. Who is slowly becoming one of my top 5 producers of the year. Just keep coming through with everything. The Folia, how you say Folia Do.
Okay, so hold on. Let me just to interject real quickly. Which Mac Hami album are you talking about? Because you there's two.
My bad. Yeah, my bad. Pray for Haiti. Pray for Haiti. Okay. So that was the Griselda joint, and then the last one, the Burning Candles. That one, well, I guess he did his own or whatever. So yeah, my fault. Pray for Haiti. So that came out earlier in the year, and then Ballin Show just came out like I guess a month ago, 6 weeks ago. I didn't really count that because it was a real short entry, but I mean still. He had some fire on there. The joint Wooden Nickels. Yes, that was the joint. What's the other one? What was it? The goat and the sheep. He talks about also too. There's another song where he talks about the legacy of his grandfather.
Yes,
how he moved from Haiti and then he died.
Wasn't that Woody Nichols?
Was that the one where he died and then nobody? I was like, he worked so hard to like protect his family when he passed. Like nobody really like passed on the tradition. Like just, I mean, he really touches you like in some real cool, like just personal and like just humanistic ways. So I was just real happy to see, to see anything from him. I mean, I hate to compare him to so many people, but he just has that it factor. He has, I think of Jay Elect and I think of Mos Def, and the fact that they could really, it's infinite in the way they can really touch you. Like they really, they can come up with some big records, some great melodic bangers, or they can really just sit down and talk to you, like mano a mano. So I was really happy with that project. Even the interludes, man. He had an interlude with the one scholar who was talking about the different nuances of Creole language. I mean, I think that brother is so deep and thought provoking. So that's which one? That's number 7. That's Mac Hami. And also too, man, like Pray for Haiti, but also he has a song called Pray for Haiti with K Tronada.
Yes.
Which is like a dance joint. So it just shows you like the different avenue, like you just look forward to what he's going to do next, because he could really do it all. So definitely a brother who's like, he's just on the tip of everybody's tongue, but still is more to come for from that brother. So good.
Indeed. Shout out to Big Z. He said Mac's albums this year were fire.
That's crazy. You had to like differentiate too, because only him. You'd be like, yeah. Which Mac Hami up this week? No, 2021.
Yeah, but you know what's so interesting? Oh, let me say this real quick. I saw we had a few more people that came into the live, man. For those that are watching live, if you could like the video or share it, we'd appreciate it, man, so we could get more people check out this show. But I do want to say that Belen Show album, it was one of those projects that at the end of the year, I think it made people think, because people had already put out their top albums of the year.
Right.
It made people go back and be like, yo, I gotta, I might have to change it.
I couldn't do it. It was just too short, but it was amazing. It was just too
short. Yeah. I get it. But yeah, that's what's up. So that was what we was at 7, right? That was 7?
7. That was 7.
All right. So number 6. What did I do for number 6? Let me see. Let me just look at my list again. I didn't. Okay. All right. So my number 6 favorite hip hop album of the year of 2021 was Sky Zoo's All the Brilliant Things. Brilliant album, right? It says brilliant in the title, and it definitely lives up to the name. Really great album. I think Sky's been pretty consistent over the last set of years, and with just a number of projects that he's put out. So I'm really excited about this project and to be able to hear it. Can you guys hear me? Do you hear echo or something?
Yeah, I'm good.
Where's that coming from?
Yeah, there was a little echo for a second.
All right, I'm gonna keep rocking. I don't know where that echo was coming from, but I'll just mute y'all in a second just to see if it's coming. All right, I don't hear it anymore. All right, so I'll say Sky Zoo's All the Brilliant Things. I really like that album. I thought from beginning to end, another project that quality right through. The song Bed-Stuy is Burning, featuring Hypnotic Brass Ensemble, produced also by Rashid Hadi. Probably one of my favorite hip-hop records in 2021. That's another thing we might have to do a show on or do a discussion on, is like what were our favorite songs that came out in 2021. That definitely was one of like the biggest records, I think, hip-hop wise, that came out. And when I heard that as the first single, I was like, man, if the album is good, if this is an indicator of what we're gonna get on the album, I knew it was gonna be dope, and it did not disappoint. There's so many. I mean, the album talks about the topic of gentrification, and Sky's. I always said Sky's music reminds me of if there was a soundtrack to Spike Lee's movies, that's what Sky Zoo's music is. You know, he often speaks from the perspective of a young brother growing up in Bed-Stuy, and you know, a lot of Spike Lee's, you know, very famous movies dealt with Brooklyn, right? And you know, aspects of the vintage, you know, Black experience in Brooklyn, and his music definitely taps into that. So subject matter, it definitely goes into, you know, like the topic of gentrification happening in Brooklyn and in Bed-Stuy, to be even more specific in terms of neighborhoods. And he really does a really good job subject wise, you know, talking about that from a thought-provoking perspective. But the beats are amazing, and what's so dope about this album is there's a variety of different production contributors, but the music sounds cohesive, and that's often, to me, a bit difficult to pull off as an artist, when you pull in these different producers and the album still sounds cohesive. And I gotta say, hats off to him for having sort of like his executive producer hat, you know, to be able to piece everything together and know, you know, what works, man. So I think it's such a dope album. I would have loved to have seen it get like a Grammy nom. I know we spoke about that earlier in this year. You know, seeing like maybe potential underground hip hop albums get in the Grammy nods, because I feel like it has all of the elements to a big record like that. But yeah, so that's my number 6. Sky Zoo's All the Brilliant Things.
The
And
comment about the production. So yeah, I guess yeah, it really feels like he did have a hand in all the production on the album. I think he did produce one song, which is maybe at the end. But I
okay,
remember we were talking to J.R. Swifts on Clubhouse,
yeah,
and you know, I was asking him why did y'all pick Nautilus for your record? I forget the name of the song that he actually did, and I was like, you know, like everybody sampled Nautilus. Like, didn't you want to feel like you wanted to go in a different direction? And he said that Zoo really wanted to like use that record in a certain way and sample a certain part of it. So he definitely, even though he may not get all the production credit, he definitely, you know, saw that through the vision from that the artwork and everything, and not to steal anybody's thunder, but you know, or take any time away. But another artist that Krill interviewed, one of my favorite interviews of the year, and just the conception of the album, even the art cover, the artwork, you know, this first, you know, few verses in the actual album coming, like you caught that. So yeah, that was dope.
yeah, man. Shout out to Sky Zoo, man. Very humble brother, man. And I've been knowing about him since he put out Cloud. I think it was Cloud 9 with Ninth Wonder. And I've seen his grind from the beginning, man. To see him kind of get this recognition that he's getting today. There's a record on that album called Bodega Flowers, where at the beginning the girl says, "I want flowers,
Right.
but you only gonna get flowers if I told you to get flowers." You know, it's
Yeah.
I
I'm not
think
gonna
that
ask for him.
that song went viral on TikTok this year. Like
Yeah,
people were using that
that's a good one,
part of the song, the beginning of the song. So yeah, man, it's just an overall dope project, man.
I'm gonna have to go back and yeah, man. I love it.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
The
that's
music
my
that I
number 6,
like. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and check that one out. My number 6 favorite album of 2021 was Vince Staples' self-titled album, Vince Staples. Short, succinct, to the point. Always super potent. I feel like Vince, he doesn't always, I don't know, he doesn't always get like the recognition, even though everybody knows that he's good. Everybody knows that he's great, but like his albums, you're not really gonna see his albums like in like the top, you know, like when he drops, it's not gonna be like at the top of any like Billboard necessarily. And I don't think that he makes music solely like for the message. And I feel like he's been doing that for years. And like a lot of his albums, I feel like go under the radar, like whether that's this album or the Big Fish album or, you know, like any of his releases in the past couple of years. But yeah, this album really like I just felt like there was something just pretty mature. I mean, he's always like had a mature like outlook on all the stuff that he's talking about. Even if it was like wild stuff that he was doing, um, you know, just it's kind of him looking back on his perspective, being older now, and like all the wild stuff that he was doing before, and kind of just like kind of giving game on like the two minds that he's always had. So yeah, man, I feel like that album was definitely I almost forgot about it, but and it was really short. It was literally like it's like a 20-minute album, but the songs are just so well constructed, like kind of the same way that Earl had released that Some Rap Songs album maybe like a year or two ago, where like all the songs were really short, like a minute or 2 minutes, but they were just so good. So yeah, I got Vince Staples at the 6.
Nice. I remember that Earl project too, man.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite albums.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. Go ahead, Mark, your turn.
All right, so number 6 is West Side Gun, Hitler Wears Hermes, Part 8.
Which
I guess
B or side A?
Side B.
Wow.
Yeah, side B. So he's on 8. Yeah, so side A could have been Part 8, and then side B could have been Part 9, but whatever.
Okay,
I guess it was. He basically, he said he was going to end the series, so I guess he just, had to give more. But yeah, side B to me was definitely a more diverse album. Just more standout tracks to it. Starting with Hell on Earth. I forget what there's some other like Part 1 or Part 2, whatever. But obviously, to me, a homage to Mobb Deep, just with the keys dropping and that mob bounce to the beat, and the title Hell on Earth, and it's just him starting off with his brothers, Benny and Conway, and they just tear it up. And Kanye has that I call like a hopscotch like style to like the way he's rapping. He's just like, it sounds like he's just a kid just hopping down the street, but he's just spitting craziness. And then they follow up the Free Cutter song, which I think we talked about at the end of one of the shows with Jay Electronica. They basically just murdered this beat, and it's really just a real like pleasant, like it sounds like elevator music. Just these vibraphones just swaying back and forth, and just a nice little beat, and they pick it up. The way they rhyme on it, and of course Jay Electronica just destroying it. This I guess was his last installment of the series, and kind of a nice way for him to really introduce some new talent in Griselda. So you got guys like Rome Streets, Stove God, who was over side A, and some surprises too. Actually, it almost seems like when 2 Chainz like makes a cameo, it's always like a surprise. Like you just listen to the record, and I remember hearing like, I think it was a Black Panther soundtrack, and the song I think it was X, and 2 Chainz just shows up, and he's just dope, man. He's dope. I saw him today. I was watching the games, and like he showed up in like an NFL commercial. Like 2 Chainz is just that guy. It's so funny. And then there's also a nice verse there's an appearance from AZ. So I mean, it's just just not just the features, whatever, but of course the typical production. It's just I can't ever really. It's hard for me to like sort of look the other way when a West Side project comes out. I mean, he's coming out every year, maybe more than every year, and of course the features are always heavy. But again, a nice synergy with Makami on his joint, on his appearance on the album, and just really well put together. So yeah, that's what are we on, number six, right? Is that right?
Nice. Yeah, that's number 6.
Number 6. So yeah, that was West Side Gun. Of course, Tyler's on it. He puts it all together. The fact that they even know each other, Tyler and West Side, is comical to me. But right. It's love. Like I think West Side has said like Tyler No. Tyler said that West Side got him rapping again. Away from like sort
Wow.
of the poppy avant-garde kind of, typical stuff. Like, yeah, like Tyler really got the inspiration from hearing Griselda tapes and Griselda projects. So, it's just a crazy world we live in now, where it's just so many people just colliding into each other. It's beautiful. It's great. So yeah.
Yeah, he stays busy, man. West Side stays busy, man. I mean, his output is just amazing. The amount of, projects, and then, like you were saying earlier, like working with Mock and getting Pray for Haiti out. Yeah, man. I remember that J Electronica track on that album was fire too, man. Yeah, so yeah, man, that's number. So we got to 6. So now we are at 5. So we're gonna start including A Level's list because he said top 5. Shout out to A Level who couldn't be here tonight, but we're gonna definitely big him up and shout out his 5. So the way we'll do it is I'll go first, as usual, as we've been doing. Then brother J Red, then Mark, and then I'll close with each round with A Level's 5-1. All right, so top albums of the year. All right, so let's get to it. So number 5 for me, I feel like I'm getting lost sometimes with these with the numbers. And I just saw it too. What did I say his number? Okay, I got it. So my number 5 favorite hip hop album of 2021 is from West Coast MC by the name of Cassius King, entitled Agape versus Nameless. When we did the Clubhouse, thing early in mid-year, I did name this as one of my top 5 albums. So I wanted to keep it there, even though it was another album that came out really early in 2021. But I felt like it's a album that I think people slept on. I didn't really hear much people talk about it. And even though I heard it earlier in the year, I still feel like it's one of those albums that, if you take the time to listen to it, you'll at least be open-minded enough to say, yo, this is a dope album. I think so. But I think what shines for me in this project is Cassius King's voice. His voice is just so clear and so strong, so powerful. He's talking on a variety of thought-provoking subjects, from I think mental health to like street life, to there's so much that deals with what's, I guess, the black man in America goes through. And this album, he's really expressing in a very strong vocal manner. And I think his vocal presence to me just always stands out. And just off the strength of that, and just also the subject matter that he chooses to talk about often in his music really, really stands out. So this album, I think it's sort of like it's touted, I believe, as sort of like a double EP. So there's a number of tracks, but it's just one of those standouts for me that I didn't want to leave out. The beats are not as like boom bap soulful as that I'm into, but his voice is so strong that you don't even really pay attention to the beats, and the beats are not whack. The beats are actually really good too. But it's another one of those albums that's kind of like an experience when you listen to it. But he's so clear as an MC that it's not like you have to like really like listen again. Like you'll catch a lot of what he's saying if you just easily listen. You know what I mean? So yeah, I should shout out that Cassius King, Agape versus Nameless. And for those that might not know who he is, if you're familiar with Blue from the West Coast MC Blue, he's done a lot of music with Blue. Like that's like Blue's boy. So if you know Blue, you more than likely you know who Cassius King is. He used to go by the name Cos, but now you hear him as Cassius King on the records. So yeah, and I got a chance to interview him in 2020 on Out the Box
Dope.
Talks with Audio podcast as well. So
Okay.
yeah, that's my number 5.
Dope.
Oh. At number 5, I got Boldy and Alchemist for Bo Jackson. Yeah, as we all know, Alchemist just cranking out work. And I feel like him and Boldy just like have this really, really incredible chemistry, like the same way that we talk about Nas and Hit Boy. I feel like Boldy and Alchemist have really just been like, just on a growth path together. And I feel like speaking of people with like very like distinct voices, I feel like Boldy's voice is super distinct. His delivery is super distinct. He's like super confident and yeah, like almost like spooky a little bit. Like he's got like a
Weird,
got,
it's like spooky and funny at the same time.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But it makes for like really intriguing music. There's like a mystique that I feel that like he kind of taps into on all of his records. So yeah, I feel like, and I feel like Price of Tea in China was like when that album came out, I was like, oh, who is, like, I gotta pay attention to this guy, and I feel like he really has not disappointed since then. So yeah, it was really like a pleasure to listen to that album.
Nice. I like that, man. Yeah, man. It seems like Alchemist and Boldy James, they have a really good. It's kind of like Hit Boy and Nas, right? They have a nice chemistry going with being able to continuously, put out projects, man. So I like to see those kinds of relationships forming in hip hop. Like they say, if it's broke, don't fix it, right? Like keep it committed.
Yeah, it's almost like a friendship they have. I think Boldy's like always over at Alc's house and shoot. I mean, I would say that project may have the best album cover the Alchemist made. He basically took a bunch of Bo Jackson trading cards and like cut them up and like just put them back. It's just weird. It's crazy. So yeah, it's just good. That's what happens, man. It's just, I'm glad the days of just sending tracks back and forth and the emailing and send me the stems and all that, like, that sterility of it is fading. The guys who just kind of just pull up in the studio when they're in town. They may talk for hours and hours and may go get something to eat, make a song, come back. To me, that's really, how that bond comes. And, now you see that the transition from Price of Tea in China to Bo Jackson, and just a real testament to them, really locking in and just being comfortable around each other. So yeah, I think that was Al's. Wait, hold on, let me not speak too quick. Yeah, that was Al's number 5, right?
Yeah, I was getting ready to say. I was gonna say.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll
A-level. Pick Boldy James as number 5 as well too. So
which is our first tie.
It's like he's in the room with us, man. Yeah,
it's like the first time. Wow, A-level, you're not even here, and you're the
right. You locked in.
The first one where we have a double up, right? Like we got at least 2 people that pick the same thing in the same slot.
Yeah, word.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm also do the first repeat. I think it is on the list. So number 5, I have Vince Staples. How can you not like Vince Staples, man? He's just a charismatic dude. In ways, I'm gonna sound old by saying this, but he reminds me of my son. Just like a smart, like just kind of just always knows what's going on kind of thing. Just too cool, the coolest guy in the room. Very funny. And just seeing him, I mean, he's put out tons of projects over the past years, and they've all been kind of on the shorter side of things. So we've been able to get a lot of Vince Staples just to sample. But you just really see the growth. And the thing that I like about him is that Vince is not, I mean, the verses and the rhymes are important. the verse is important, but for him, it's about the song and really just seeing him master the craft of song creation and making songs at such a young age. It's not an easy thing to do to really be, just such a wizard at creating songs. So I remember listening to him. I think it might have been an Ebro interview where he was talking about how he couldn't figure out a way to really pop with the streams. So what he was doing was making songs that he knew would get placed in either video games or movies. So like Spider-Man or
Oh wow.
whatever, Grand Theft Auto or something like that. And that alone, he used the word sync. He was like, we gotta have songs that sync in certain spots. And before you know it, because of that thrust from other projects, he was doing stadiums. And just the strategy behind that,
Smart.
and a young kid to really just like figure the game out early, is like to his credit. And the thing like the thing about Vince is like in one breath you get a sense that okay, this dude is like, he's seen some things, and it could be on a universal level in another country, or like the way he just raps. He'll just rap about certain streets in Long Beach or Ramona Park or all these places you never really heard of. I think his next album is going to be titled Ramona Park. So he just gives you that like real universal experience. And with these songs, some of them are, could be radio songs. And then he just touches down and really locks in with a real, just like, street level, just real West Coast, sort of rider, anthem. So in that sense, he just really just gives you the whole experience. And it's another album that's actually produced by one producer, Kenny Beats. They seem to be real chummy. Kenny Beats did the whole joint. And I don't really know that much about Kenny Beats. I feel like he's popped up here and there, or maybe I just haven't done the knowledge. But they got yeah, man. That was a connection that was meant to happen. And yeah, it's a short album. I think it's like 25 minutes or something like that, or 22 minutes. But I just say, hey, just listen to it twice. You'll be all right. like the power and the strength of the songs is so much, and it just continuously flows. Or you could just let it loop over again and get it in for 45 minutes, and you would feel satisfied. And like you said, the songs are just so short. Like, I mean, there's a couple songs. There's one song, it's called Sundown Town. It's only one verse, but it's just the way it's structured is great. The fact that it's called Sundown Town, I think it's a reference to the Jim Crow era, where if you were black in the wrong town, and by sundown you had to get out of there, it was a sundown town. So the fact that this young man's talking like just making that reference is cool. But each song, man, you don't really think it's a long 22 minutes. It really is. You just you stay strapped in for the whole time. So yeah, number 5, Vince Staples. Shout out.
Dope. Yeah, man, I'm definitely gonna check that album out, man. I've been hearing about Vince Staples for some years now. And his name often shows up, in terms of, like the projects that he comes out with, to check for. Shout out to Solution says, I like the hip hop education from you guys. No doubt. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Yes. So listen, where we at? Number 4 now. So we counting down, man. We getting there. I want to thank everyone that's tuning in, listening right now. If you've been listening since the beginning of the show, we're like about an hour and 20 minutes in. I appreciate you. Well, what I want to do, fellas, maybe after the show, I want to I want to be able to get y'all so y'all can send me what y'all have, like y'all list, so I can post it in the description of the video, but people could they could go to as well. But I do want folks that haven't caught it to also watch the video too, but just putting that out there. So yes, man, we are so number 5 for A level, as we said again, was he chose the Boldy James, right? The one that you chose, J Rad, the Bo Jackson, Alchemist, and Boldy James. So A Level's not here to give his his explanation as to why he chose that, but we definitely wanted to shout it out. That was number 5 for A Level as well. Bo Jackson by Alchemist and Bodie James. And number 4. So my number 4, moving right along, my number 4 goes to, and I didn't want to say anything about it earlier, but we brought it up. But my number 4 is Mark Hami Balencho. Even though technically it runs shorter than what we would technically consider an album, but I have to say this was hard to choose between this and Pray for Haiti album, but I don't know. I'm a fan of projects that kind of just hit right away, and I don't have to don't get me wrong. I like being able to go back to projects and listen too, but I also really like projects that just hit right away. And this one hit right away. I was really amazed, and like the level of maturity that you hear from him on this album. I mean, you hear it on Pray for Haiti as well too, but even the subject matter is really, really dope. That he really taps into on this album. So yeah, man, it really just speaks for itself. I did a review on this album on my other channel, Out the Box Media, which I started doing music reviews. So if you want to get a little bit more details on this, go over there. But yeah, off the bat, I just really like it. It was a solid effort right through. The production, I think Nicholas Craven has a number of production on here. At least 3 tracks he produces on here. And there's some other production from some other producers as well. But it just hits soulful. Mark still has his, kind of mysterious kind of MC approach, but I feel like the lyrics are really delivered very easier to understand in this project. So if you're somebody who's like, yo, it's hard to get into his music because sometimes his lyrics are so layered, this is not the project. I think it's delivered really easily from a lyrical standpoint. And I really like it, man. It actually reminds me of the EP he put out called Wap Conjage that was released years ago, and I remember really, really liking that EP for its overall sound. And this project reminds me of that. So yeah, Balencho is my number 4. Mark Hami.
Yeah, Mark Hami's definitely been killing it these past couple of years for sure. That Pray for Haiti was definitely hard.
Yeah.
My number 4 was Super What, Czarface and MF Doom.
Ooh, I love that.
Oh yeah, man,
listening to that album was just it was crazy. It was crazy. Off the bat, the beats are just crazy. There's beat switches. There's just all the stuff that I love in a song, and then you have 2 of the most distinct and prominent voices that I feel. You know what I mean? When you hear Doom, when you hear Czarface, you know who they are. Just the same way that when you hear Ghostface or Raekwon, you know what I mean? Anybody who has one of those voices in hip hop. So to have both of them on an album that was just as interesting and as in tradition with with the themes that they carry with the little comic book or cartoon inserts or whatever in the album. Yeah, it was it just, and especially because we don't have Doom here anymore, so any Doom music is so valuable. So yeah, listening to that album was just you just cherish it, and I thought it was really, really enjoyable.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It was one of those albums that I didn't even, it was surprising to get.
Yeah.
And very fulfilling to hear with, hearing of Doom's passing, at the end of 2020. Literally the last day of 2020 is when we got the news. So yeah, man. And I think it's one of the shorter Czarface albums that I've heard in terms of its duration. But I was so happy to get it, yo. So I'm glad that you put that there, man. Yeah. Go ahead, Mark. Your number.
Yeah, man, that's a tough one to follow, man. That caught me off guard for real.
I gotta switch it up, man.
Yeah, man, absolutely, bro. I mean, man, shout out to Doom and his whole family, brother. It's just, I mean, we just trying to just hold on to every little piece we can. He had some offerings for maybe the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas soundtrack.
Yeah, he was on a track with Flying Lotus at the end of
what's it called? The lunch break or something.
Yeah, lunch break.
That joint is ridiculous.
Right.
Oh my God. That's and like I guess that's something we should be waiting for. I think there's probably more material, I think, with him and Fly.
That would be interesting.
I might be putting it out there, but I think I may have seen something or read something or something, or just dreamed it. maybe that's just what I want. So that joint is crazy. Also the song with Drew, with your old Drew on his last joint, it's called Dropout Boogie. Oh my God.
Yeah, Dropout
Boogie. Song, if you haven't heard that song, Dropout Boogie, do it, man. That is just, if you're a hip hop head and you just want it, like, just the beat alone, just the breaks in it. It's just a break salad, just constant breaks. But apparently, it's a song that Drew came out with. I know we're going off topic, but we're talking about Doom now. But that Drew came up with, like, I think he wrote it or was in the process of writing it for years, just because, it was about his experience, not really just like school wasn't really for him, type of thing. And I don't know how Doom got on there, but it's just that nostalgic kind of just fun, everything Doom's about. So every little piece, every little nugget, we just holding on to. So yeah, you caught me off guard with that. The Czarface. I gotta reminisce on that joint because I think that happened earlier in the year, right?
Yeah, no, I did.
So speaking of nostalgic, so yes, we are number 4, right?
Yeah, number 4.
I don't know why I can't count today. So yeah, Sky Zoo, All the Brilliant Things. J Red, I think, right?
You said Krill.
That was me. I said it as number 6, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, man. The only concept album I have on my list, and we always need a concept album. The great thing about a concept album is that that drives the whole project, obviously. So, when you get, it fights off the fatigue of listening because you're constantly like, okay, how does this song tie in? Or how's this song? So, I mean, it's just, you can see a topic like gentrification really affecting, Sky Zoo because he's such a nostalgic dude. I mean, he really just goes back to like penny jerseys and Jordans and, of course, the song St. James Liquors, which he detailed in Krill's interview about, the spot where Big and his crew used to hang out and his, sort of brief glimpse into the light and his, his inspiration to go into hip hop. But also too, like, just focusing on where Brooklyn, where the neighborhood's at. And the power of gentrification. The power of cultural appropriation as well too. He has a cool line where he says, if Supremes were 2 billion or 2 billy, then I'm gonna need half of it. Basically, just saying that, like, he's the reason why they, like they're profiting off of hip hop culture. So it's just one of those things where it's just like he just, he's always going to execute lyrically. It with the metaphors, the wordplay, everything clever. The first couple of lines of the album, he's basically just stacking up all the titles to his previous albums. Like, who does that? A song like Bodega Flowers, which I didn't even know went viral, but just tying that in, give me my flowers, all these metaphors.
Yes.
And the production, which we touched on before, but I like the fact that it sounds like he EP'd that album, or at least was like, didn't push all the buttons, but definitely had the concepts. So he's taking songs like Nautilus, there's even Everybody Loves the Sunshine, Roy Ayers, they flipped that. The first track, I think it is, he uses like 2 different beats that Dilla used. There's even a couple of like some horns from Summertime Matt, like all these little elements that are familiar, kind of make you feel at home. And I think it was just a well executed project, man. It was just, I think like, maybe he didn't ask for it, but I think definitely he deserves his flowers, because this is a brother who's been, just grinding and putting out quality music for a while. So, shout out to Sky Zoo, All the Brilliant Things, number 4.
Awesome. And I want to also say, like, in regards to that Sky Zoo album, the song "Bedsides Burning," which is one of, like, I think one of the best records that came out.
A live joint.
I was saying earlier, like, Rashad Hadi was involved in producing that record, and I got a chance to have him on the phone during exclusive interview session that I had with Fillmore Green, and so that conversation was only for our Patreon subscribers, where Rashad actually spoke about how that song came to be, so I'm just putting it out there, a little plug out there to let folks know, if you want to get some exclusive interview content, we have our Patreon page, Out the Box Media. Let me just throw it out there, where you can find like stuff like that, because that's only available on the Patreon, where Hadi was able to kind of break, how that song came to be, man. So I just wanted to shout that out.
That's dope.
But let's was that what you done?
I'm not done. So shout out to Illinois Scratch. I don't know if y'all noticed on tour of the neighborhood, there's a part at the end where they're like saying, "Come around my way, come around my way."
Yeah.
Illinois Scratch, or one of them, or both of them, featured on the album, and a credit too. So that just kind of shows you what kind of dude, you know, Sky Zoo is, because you haven't heard them in a while. So word up.
Absolutely. So let's go to A Levels number 4. He chose J. Cole, The Offseason, which
wow.
I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, that's an obvious one. It's Grammy nominated. Yeah. It's a record that people were talking about. J. Cole always kind of brings it when he releases albums. So yeah, good choice, A Level. J. Cole, Offseason. So I also want to say, guys, I made a big, I don't want to say, I guess I made a big mistake by not saying this. So I have a tie for number 4, and I know this is unconventional, but I have to say it. I just have to put this record in. It's one of the albums that came out early in the year, and I think I got it mixed up somehow in my list, but it definitely needs to be up in my top 10. And this record is the album by Your Old Droog and the God Fahim, The Wolf on Wall Street. I have to put that one in my top 10. It's another project where I feel like there's no misses with this album. Like it's every track to me is unskippable, and its production is just so good. Their delivery lyrically on this album is so perfect. You know what I mean? Like it's just, there's no misses with this project. It's another one of those projects that it doesn't really have skits to my knowledge, but it just, from 1 through 10, or how many tracks that's on there, I think it might only be about 8 or 9 tracks, but like it just hits, man. And like, if you're familiar with the God Fahim, like he's just, to me, he's just getting better and better as an MC. You know what I mean? And Droog does his thing as well, man. So yeah, man, I have to give it up to them with The Wolf on Wall Street. To me, it seems like they're coming out with a part 2 to that. It might be this year, so or really soon. So I really like that. They put out another project earlier in the year as well, but this is my favorite out of the 2. And
was it a basketball one or no? Did they put out like a basketball? Yeah, that joint was crazy.
Yeah, that one, I think that's the one that had like
crazy.
wasn't like Pharaoh and like Fonte or somebody like was on that. Like
Yeah.
But this is my out of those two, the Wolf on Wall Street was my favorite out of the two. I think it's one of those albums that people will sleep on. But I didn't want to because I just remember listening to it. And Fahim puts out a lot of projects and Drew too, but for some reason, like this one just it just hit from beginning to end. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in. I know I did my 4 already, but I just had to throw that one in there. Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't leave that one out.
Yeah. So number 3, I'll go again. I feel like I'm talking a lot, so I apologize.
Nah, it's good. It's your, hey man,
I'm gonna try to be quick with this one.
It's on you, bro.
And this one is another album that was said already.
Take your time.
Shout out to you, J Red. This is Czarface and MF Doom. Super What is my number 3 favorite hip hop album of this year. I'll be honest with you. This one and my other 2, it's very possible that any of these could be number 1 for me. But I'm at this point I'll leave it as number 3. Super What, like I said earlier, was very much a surprise that this came out. And anytime MF Doom releases anything or anything that MF Doom's name is on, I'm just always excited to listen with him, like my favorite MC of all time. So it was really special, sort of like, did we get kind of like, would this be really considered a posthumous Doom release, even though he recorded it? Like, he knew that this album was going to come out. So I don't know if I would consider this a posthumous release, but it's definitely the first album that we get from MF Doom since we've heard of him, transitioning. So it was dope. It is, like I said, shorter Czarface album, but lyrically it is there. And I love what 7L did in terms of the production. Really just like, he really shines as a producer, man. Like the Czarface world is a different world. It really feels like he jumped into a comic book. And that's what we get on this album. Even the artwork, it's just very comic book-esque. And you get the clever bars from Doom, of course, but like Esoteric does an amazing job lyrically as well too, man. Like, there's a lot of punchlines, a lot of comic references. I love albums like that where it just takes you through an experience of like movie references and witty, clever lyrics and just this very animated production. I think DMC from Run DMC sets off the album too. So yeah, man, I'm with you on this one, J Rad, man. Definitely Czarface and MF Doom, Super What, dope album to come out in 2021. That's my number 3.
All right, let's see, man. So I feel like, man, A Level, you about to make me change my whole list up. I forgot it, but yes, I feel like now that it's back in my mind, I feel like no, you know what? I'm gonna go number 3. I'm gonna go King's Disease too. I feel like very like, and like we can throw Magic in there as well at number 3.
Might as well.
Because they feel pretty like, it feels like a continuation almost, like when we were I feel like somebody had mentioned it in the group chat. Like, it feels like just like songs that might have been on an album, but it might have been too long if they put all the songs on, so they just split them up. I feel like KD2 was like a very, very polished and solid follow-up. Like, I feel like we spoke about that as well. And then Magic on top of that, I was just like, this is kind of crazy. Like, the fact that they are just putting out this, not only this quantity of work, but this quality of work. Like, Nas, like on Magic, is still giving like completely different flows than he is on KD 102. He's like still finding ways to like make everything like exciting and interesting and still feel fresh, even the way that it was released. You know what I mean? He just put it out there on Christmas Eve, right?
Yep.
Um,
It was Christmas Eve. It dropped.
yeah, man. So yeah, I would definitely say, yeah, Nas Hit Boy still on this really, really like just crazy run, man.
Absolutely.
And I'm excited to see like how long and how far they take this whole thing.
Man, you know, you couple them the two. I'm curious to know, because I've been hearing this a lot lately, that people are saying Magic is better than KD2, and I want to know what's your thoughts on that, brother J Rad.
You know, I feel like I don't know. I feel like like I said, I feel like they are interchangeable. I feel like Magic might grow on me over time yeah. Like when I first heard it, I don't know. It's just there's something different about it. There's something that distinguishes it, so that it's like
really different. Yeah,
it's still it still feels like it was made in the same like mindset. Like, you know, like it still feels like Hit Boy and Nas were like in the same mindset when they made this project, but it feels just a tiny bit different. But yeah, I feel like over time, Magic might be the one. It's also just more concise. It's less songs.
Yeah, I noticed that. I mean, I have to be honest, I'm not there yet. And I to even be honest, like I don't even know if I'll get there, but I like Magic. I just don't know if personally for me, I don't know if it's touching KD1 and KD2, but maybe with time, like you said, it may, I may see it. But I'm glad that you put it in there, man. Squeezed it in there with both.
Yeah, man, had to be said that.
Go ahead, your turn, brother Mark.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. Like when Magic first dropped, I kind of felt, all right, cool. I feel like I was still processing and digesting KD2. But as I was able to make some room for Magic and listen and just keep it like it kept going on loop, and I wasn't turning it off, man. I was really pleased with it. I mean, I don't know if it's their best or worst, but I'm taking it. Even some songs, I mean, I keep trying to think of my favorite songs and I can't really do it. But right now, my favorite song is the last joint, Dedicated, man. That breakdown, man. Man, I have a soft spot for breakdowns and beats, man. And it's just like, I mean, not just the fact that it broke down, but just the fact that they're both just fires, like it's just an undeniable. It's sad. I mean, I feel like I'm just, it's like they just hit you with like a true serum or some type of, you just kind of you just fall. You're just like, all right, whatever, I'm good. Whatever they put out, you feel like you just sipping the Kool-Aid. But I mean, I felt like it does have that like that burn to it where it won't go out. It just kind of, so I'm there when it gets, I can see where they can maybe line up a little bit. But just, I mean, I can't split hairs with those guys. I'm just very happy they're doing what they're doing. So number 3, shout out to J Red, because you mentioned this track earlier. I mean, this album earlier, but yeah, Little Sims, man. Little Sims, number 3. Sometimes I might be introvert, which is actually an acronym for her name. Simbi.
I didn't even notice that. Yeah,
her name is like Symbiatu. So that was cool the way she put it together. But yeah, I've been a fan of Little Sims for a minute, man. Like, I was a strong. I liked her last album. It came out maybe last year or the year before, called Gray Area, and this is another joint that is and as this has been a good year for this one person, this producer, who produced both Gray Area and Sometimes I Might Be Introvert. It goes by Inflow, British producer. Not a lot out there on him right now, but he's produced all the Salt albums. So Salt, Rise,
right.
The 5, 7, 9. That 9 just came out last year. Just to me, just incredible work. Just magical albums to me in terms of like their range, their scope, their subject matter. So he's produced all those joints. He produced the Michael Kiwanuka album. Kiwanuka just take you all kinds of places. And I'm a little upset about this album. It's bittersweet to me because I really think that at least a performance, a song, even an album could have been nominated in somehow, some way for the Grammys. I mean,
didn't get nominated at all. Really, that's
yeah. And to me, I mean, I may be overhyping whatever, but the album's really an experience. I mean,
it feels like listening to like a score. Like it feels like it.
So so what happens is she has like in between her songs to start off and to weave through, she has these orchestral interludes, and they're just like amazing. They're like these trippy like excursions, and you almost feel like you're like in a Mary Poppins book or Alice in Wonderland. And she weaves together all these like, I mean, at first they become like little interludes, they become like little songs with movements to them. And just like, you know, either choruses or women who are just singing like these like positive affirmations through her life, through the album. I mean, it's just you feel like you're somewhere else when you hear these things. But you know, like J Red was saying, like this girl, I mean, this young lady brings it. I mean, she's got a couple hard records. She got a song called Rolling Stone. That's probably one of my favorite songs, and it's just one of these like kind of grimy, trappy records, but just tough, just shake the room type stuff that just, you know, will have you just feeling just this young lady just does it. She has another song, I think it's called Speed, which is another kind of braggadocio joint. And then, you know, and then Cleo, who's also, it's a whole movement, man. Like Cleo, Saul, Flo, Sims. Cleo's like, she's like a main collaborator on the album. She's on like 6 or 7 songs. And she, you know, her voice is beautiful. Some of these songs, they go, you know, in all these different melodic places. And you know, don't get it wrong. I know I'm saying how flowery the album is, but Sims is she's rapping. She's straight up rapping through the whole album. And she's rapping about some crazy stuff, man. I mean, she rapped about she has a song called I Love You, I Hate You. And the production on it is like, it's real anthemic, like gritty. You could hear it in the soundtrack, but she's talking about the relationship she has with her father. This sort of, you know, she basically says in the record she has daddy issues and
generational trauma. Yeah, word.
Yeah, it was real traumatic. And then like there's another song, man, I forget the name of it, but she's talking about how she almost died, how she got stabbed by a kid. And she was on a ventilator in a coma for like 2 weeks. Like, oh my God. Like, wow, and you know, I'm not about the shock or whatever, but like just the way she just puts her life on wax and really just incorporates it so beautifully. She has these like really romantic love letters to you know, whoever it may be. You know, she talks about, you know, different women in her life and how she, you know, how powerful and beautiful they are. You know, it's just she just goes on. I mean, I was just really happy with the whole album. And even towards the end, my man, I think, I always forget to pronounce his name, but his name is Obang Jayar. And he's an African artist. He was on Danny Brown's album a couple years ago. The joint, I forget the name of it, but the one he did with Q-Tip. Just a real, he's almost like a Burna Boy type, real vibey, real, just, you know, just heavy, just this rough voice, just dope. Point and Kill, that's a dope song. And then she actually takes it back to her African roots with another song, real playful, like African joint. I mean, it's just, to me, it's just a shame that she didn't get nominated for anything because that album is so big. It's so big and like cinematic and just like if you don't like it, or I mean, so be it if you don't like it, but I mean, it's just so much to like on it. So
I feel like the only reason is like what we were saying earlier is that just people might just not know.
And I think she did get nominated for a lot of British awards, like consideration for like album of the year, like she got a lot of considerations. So I don't know, maybe if they can do some type of, you know, give you your flowers later, or, you know, a little in retrospect, we messed up type of thing. Yo,
For real,
Mammy's gonna
man.
have to consider her. So shout out to Little Sims. I'm really high on her, and I'm looking forward to like the next stuff and just the whole movement, the whole inflow, Salt, Cleo, all that. It's just a great movement, great run they're on. So yeah, I know I spoke a lot about her, but
No, that's all
I
good.
needed to. I needed to. I love
She
that.
deserves it, man.
No, that's all good. Give me 1 second.
Okay, man.
You still there, Mark? Okay. Yeah, so
Okay.
yeah, I'm just trying to get some water. Let's go to A levels number. He gave in his number because we still at 3, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. A level. All right, A level went with Nas and Hit Boy's Magic as his number 3. So yeah. He chose Nas Magic. So just like you, brother, J Rev. That was number 3. So shout out to A level, man. Like he couldn't be here, but he did send in his list. And just to speak on that Little Sims album, you spoke so eloquently on it, Mark, that this is another album that I heard good things about when it came out, but the way you broke it down,
Yo, I may be setting you up for just disappointment.
No,
But,
I don't think it's
feeling
like
that
that
album. It's just you
and
don't
I'ma
hear
say,
out like in any genre. You don't hear albums like that. You really don't. So, shout out
bro,
to her.
you're it's not even that because the album to me was already validated. You know what I'm saying? You just further validating it because the publications that like I was talking about, like Hip Hop Golden Age, they posted it as like I think that was like their top, their number 1 album this year of 2021. Then J Red also sharing it too. Like I know for and I heard this, like I was anticipating this, but I didn't know the story went that deep.
Yeah, her lyrics are you like, yeah. I was like, whoa, you did what happened? I had to rewind a couple
Definitely
times.
gonna be checking it out. So like I said, A level said number 3 was Nas Hit Boy Magic. So are we going to number 2 now? And my number 2 is Ka, A Martyr's Revenge. And most people that have been checking me out for a while now on this platform, Ka is definitely up there as one of my favorite MCs. He, like I always say, Doom is number 1, Ka is number 2, Elzai's number 3. So every time I get a new album from Ka, I'm always excited to listen. And this album definitely didn't disappoint. It's just Ka. Like it's Ka in his most authentic form, but it's just an addition to his legacy. It's one of those albums that you definitely, the replay value is amazing on this. You're gonna come back to this album numerous times, but what makes Kai stand out is his ability to really just capture you with almost every word. I was gonna say every line, but like almost every word, line for line. Like there's a line in there that you're like, oh wow, like you can see that he put thought into every word and every line on the album. And there's so much different, what you would call like, punchlines and double entendres and just clever lyricism that you get on this album, man. So good. It is not an album. I think you might, people listening to this, I think you have to be a fan of lyricism to really grasp this album, but he has some really shining production elements on this album. But this is another project that's like an experience as well. So gotta give it up to Brother Ka, A Martyr's Revenge, that came out in 2021. That's my number 2.
Yeah, word. I remember you recommended Descendants of Cain by Ka, and I ended up listening to it, and it was really, really just like everything that you said it was. It was amazing. Yeah.
Let me just let me correct that. I said A Martyr's Revenge. It's A Martyr's Reward. Let me correct that. A Martyr's Reward is the name of the album. I think I'm mixing up Revenge with another album he had. There's another album I think Revenge is in the title, but the correct album is A Martyr's Reward.
Gotcha.
Kai's album. Yeah.
So I changed my number 2 because I forgot about this project. But for number 2, I'm going J. Cole Offseason. I feel like that was a really it was, I don't know, for me it felt like the first like big album of 20s, like
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like when that album dropped, it was like, you know, everything stopped and we're like everybody was really tuned in, and Cole like did not disappoint. It obviously like isn't, you know what I mean? It was kind of a teaser for an album, and you're just like, wow, if this is the teaser, the album is gotta be something crazy, because you know the song with him in 21, that My Life joint, and then he's got the interlude joint, he's got
Lil Baby's joint,
Lil Baby's joint, like it was
Puff
crazy.
joint,
Puff joint, like let go my hand, like
let go my hand, yeah, that was a great one.
Mad joints, man, and yeah, Cole is just really showing you that, like, yes, he is part of that, you know, that Mount Rushmore, you know what I mean? And I feel like he of the new generation for sure. And I feel like he proves that every time that he drops, because, you know, there are a couple people that when they drop, you know, like hip hop stops and like and listens to them and pays attention. So like whether we feel like he is like the most cerebral, or like if there are artists that are more cerebral than him, you know, remains to be seen. But I feel like for the impact that project had, it definitely deserves recognition for sure.
That's a good one. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback on that just because I purposely did not put J. Cole in my top 10 because I knew other people would have him in there. This is the first time I've tried this.
Okay.
It may backfire on me, but yeah, if there was one of those guys who like, that was the one album that I left out just for that exact reason, but I loved it. You know, with KOD, it was a prettier album. You know what I mean? There were a lot more singles. There are a lot more joints for, you know, just balanced universal joints that everybody could really just vibe to. But you know, when you're doing songs like, I think it was 95 South, where, you know, you just it was just gutter. It was just, you know, you had heavy Cameron and Southern hip hop vibes on it.
Cameron and Lil Jon on the same song.
Man, just like, woo, how that's rough, that's tough. I was a big fan of that song called Close. It was just great. It was just great. It was just a great offering. Like I think because we talked about that midway, and I was like, yeah, this is the first like event album, you know, and this is before Kanye and before Certified Lover Boy. So, you know, he definitely, you know, felt that stage had to be stepped on, and I think he did his thing on it. Absolutely. I was just really pleased with it. You know, I mean, the only reason why he's not on the list is because I knew everybody else would have him on the list. Now, there's a couple other joints that was just undeniable that you know, that we'll get to with number 1 and number 2. But I figured I haven't even listed my what is that, number 2 yet? We're on number 2.
Yeah, number 2.
So I haven't even listed yet, but I'm using this time to just shout out J. Cole because it was a strong project, and I'm just happy. You know, he's really like, you see the growth. You see, you know, from Born Sinner even earlier, but you see the growth.
Yeah, sure.
And now he's in a real untouchable space, which is real cool. So Tyler is my number 2. Is my number 2. So I'm laughing because I never thought I'd put a Tyler the Creator album as number 2. I've been really impressed by his by everything, all his offerings with Odd Future, and most recently with the oddly, Griselda and Freddie Gibbs. But like this whole album just really, as soon as I heard it, I knew it would be nominated for a Grammy, just because of I guess just the complexity of it, the scope of it, the range of it, was really something I was really impressed with. And I remember, like, I think Lumberjack was like maybe the first single that came off.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And
Yeah.
it was just because he's done whatever, Flower Boy and Igor, and these are albums that they have their merits, but they just warrant that hip hop in that hip hop lane. And a song like Lumberjack Rolls Royce pull up, black boy hop out, like that. I mean, come on, like that's such a dope line. But he's got the songs of 42 Doug, and he's got the Lil Uzi song, the Uzi Vert,
and the Lil Wayne song.
The Wayne song. Yeah, Wayne had to step his game up. Wayne knew he had to come correct.
That was one of the best Wayne verses I've heard.
Wayne knew he had to come correct with that one because he would have got there's some joints. Yeah, Wayne has actually had a really good year this year. He's really doing his thing. So again, these are like these collaborations, of course, stuff. I'm happy. The Damo's on the track. I'm happy. Whatever may have happened with all them. I'm happy Damo's on a song together, which Tyler just flames and destroys. But also too, I mean, with Tyler, man, it's just he's just such a multidimensional artist. So he's not just gonna just come at you from one direction. So he's gonna have, the joint. What's your name? It's like a throwback to the 90s, like R&B smooth joint. I mean, he flames that one. What's the other one? Wilshire is crazy. And then he has I guess that's his mother. the mama interlude where his mom starts talking about how she would check anybody who came at him, coming up, disrespecting him, just hysterical. And then there's some like crazy what's the song? I think it's called Sweet. It's like a whole departure. It's just like it goes into this like Caribbean type of like tropical vibe. And again, every song may not be for everybody, but again, I think you talked about it, how Tyler, you're right. He thinks in like multi dimensions. And when it comes to like song making, album creation, I mean, he produced every song. I think maybe there's a couple people helped out, but he pretty much produced every song. Pharrell, I'm sure, had a hand in a couple things because there's some songs that sounded Pharrell's on the album too. But you cannot deny Tyler, like, he's just great at what he does. And now that we're in the age of the verses era, and you think about Tyler, I mean, Tyler on any given day could really like give anybody a run for their money. Like he's stolen the show on many songs with many of your favorite rappers, and he almost got like a there's certain MCs who you can't really like rate, like like a certain like I hate comparisons, but if you think of like Ghost or Ray or Slick Rick or any of these guys who just like they just come at you from a whole different, they're not even on the same lane. So you can't really compare them to anybody else. But Tyler's just, I think, he's great, you know what I'm saying? And, despite all the antics and all the controversies about whatever it may be, his personal life or whatever, you just can't deny him. And I think the great thing about this album is no matter what direction it goes in, his skill, his talent is always at the focal point. Like is the one thing that carries through the whole album. It's just his lyrical skill. So, and that's why I'm putting him number 2 for hip hop album, just because of that lyricism. And, I couldn't deny him, a top spot up there. So Tyler,
I'll say this. You guys are proving that these Grammy nominations this year are worthy, because between Tyler, Nas, J. Cole, like those are the names, man, for the best rap albums this year. So dope. I want to shout out some of the people in the chat. Vegeta said, so this is an album I don't know if any of us will put in our top 10, but he said Duel 2 was Flames by AZ. And that's another project that I have to say it didn't really hit me right away, I would be honest. And I still need to go back and listen to it. But shout out to you, Vegeta. He also said Ransom Heavy is the Head. Yeah, I'll definitely say that's another dope project as well. By Ransom. He had a very productive year as well, man. Very lyrical dude. And Amin Black said, peace to all the fans of the Do or Die 2 album by AZ. So yeah. I just wanted to shout that out. So A Level gave in his number 2, and it was Donda by Ye. So
dun.
yeah, he
that show was crazy. I was like, what is going on? I was like, what happened? What are we doing?
How long is that album? That album is really long.
Thorough.
Let me just look at the the Kanye. For those that don't know, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody. Yeah, the album's an hour and 48 minutes long. That's 2 albums.
Word.
That's 2 albums.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's very long.
Yo, that's a double album, man. But yeah, I'm glad. It's dope to see you put that in there. That's another album that I think is kind of an experience. You really gotta like. I don't know if there's a place where you. Is that an album that you listen to right from beginning to end? Like I don't even know how to listen to that album.
You gotta skip. You gotta skip.
Yeah,
you gotta skip.
Really long. Like it might be Kanye's longest album I've ever heard. Like I don't know.
No, it is. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But it has some moments. I'm not gonna front. Like but it's cool to see A Level add that to his list by Ye.
Yo, when my 6-year-old, when she started singing, I know God breathed on this. I know God. I was like, first of all, I was like, what are you saying? And then I was like, hey, she's talking about God. She's like, I can't fault it. I cannot fault it. I know God breathed on this. Shout out to I mean, I didn't put it in there because I didn't think of I really didn't. I couldn't. I had so many other albums to sort of like try to piece together and put in there. And also too, I didn't really feel like it was just, I mean, we're talking hip hop. I mean, I'm just trying to be as subjective as I can. So, to put an hour and 40-minute song with, which he actually calls a gospel album or whatever, but, I just couldn't put it in. And then also too, it's just the lore of the album and the song that didn't make the album being the craziest song of the year. You gotta recognize the moment.
But he did update the album, and now that song is on the album.
It's on the album.
Oh man. Okay. All right. So I guess he
even though I believe
does that connect? I think sometimes a certain song could make a difference. I don't know how big of a difference, but a record like that's a huge record.
That was crazy.
100,000 song, you definitely.
I was like, oh my god.
Definitely reconsider.
I feel like I was tripping. I feel like I took something when I heard this. I feel like I dropped that.
Yeah. Shout out to Solutions. He said that Magic is his album of the year because Nas performed a miracle. He went back to Illmatic to bring his fans.
Wow.
Stuck there to the future, and he spoke to everyone. So that's an interesting point. Like,
yeah, it's a cool analogy.
Do you guys feel like Magic has the Illmatic kind of vibe? That I hadn't heard that, but that might be one of the reasons why people are saying it's such a dope album and choosing it over KD 1 and 2. I think definitely the one thing it has in common is that it's a shorter album between that and Illmatic. But do you feel like it has that because it's an interesting point that Solutions makes?
It might have been like a cool challenge that they may have tried to like, yo, let's Illmatic was only 10 songs or whatever. Let's try to
Right.
Let's see what we can do with 10 songs, kind of type of thing. But maybe not trying to rival, not knowing that they may not. I don't know. I can't really say that.
That is it's the Illmatic,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting point. It just what I love the fact is that their chemistry. I mean, I really feel like KD2. I feel like we're gonna get KD2 this year.
Yeah, you have to.
Like their output is.
You mean KD3?
Yeah, I'm bugging. I'm sorry. KD3, sorry, I made a mistake.
Because they would have held on to Magic, right? I think, right? Or just I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like they wanted to get it out before the year was out so that they could have KD3.
Or maybe they just know KD3 is going to be better, and they were just like, "Yo, you can have Magic because we got way more heat."
Yeah,
I believe that.
Yeah, like I've. You know how there's some albums that you're like, people will be, because he mentioned it on Magic. He was like KD3 on the way. You'll hear people say that, and then the album don't come out until another 2 or 3 years, or whatever. Like, I really believe we're gonna get KD3 this year.
Yeah.
Expected. Like, because of their output and their consistency. So yeah, man, I'm excited to see what happens with KD3.
Yeah, I took those words to heart. I was just like, yeah, okay. KD3.
Yeah, so Donda by Ye was number 2 by A-Level, and we are at number 1. We're gonna have to do a drum roll for this one. Kusho I'm pronouncing Kusho Ununi. Yes, I did mention Haram by Armand Hammer. That was my number 9 favorite album of the year. So I did. Big ups to you. All right, so yeah, man. So we're gonna have to do a drum roll. Let me see. Do I have a little drum roll sound? I have a drum roll sound. It's a little drum roll, right? A short drum roll. But yeah, we ready for our number 1. Let me switch up my thing. So yeah, man, we are at number 1. I want to thank everyone who has tuned in so far. We have the most people viewing at this current moment that has viewed for the entire show. So it's good that people didn't like completely tune off, But we thank y'all for rocking with us. We're gonna get to our number one favorite album of 2021. Number one. So yeah, man. Let me just
going off.
Word, right? So
It's major.
Applause and a drum roll. Number 1. So my number 1 favorite hip hop album of 2021 is an album that we've said already, and it makes the most sense for me. So I'm excited to say on my drum roll, number 1 favorite album of the year is Nas King's Disease 2. That is my number 1 favorite album of 2021. And I'll say that is my number 1 because I think when we did our show earlier this year, I had difficulty choosing between that and KD1. And they're still close, but I'm edging that one as the better album. And because Nas just shines so clearly as a lyricist, and the production from track to track, to me, as I listen to it, it just gets better as you listen to the entire album. Mm-hmm. I won't say too much about it because we did a full show on it, but I just love how at this stage in the game, Nas is only shining and shining more. And that is a clear example of his ability to really stay in the fold as an MC. Like being in the game for so long, you would have think like he kind of quieted down, but it looks like his career is on the uphill. You know what I mean with this album, and I think Hit Boy's production really complements where he is at this particular time in his career. Like, really very thought-provoking project, and it's just an example of how Nas doesn't have to dumb anything down. He can just be authentic Nas and still relate and resonate with the older heads that love him for Illmatic and the new generation that is coming on board with him. And I love the connection between him and Hit Boy. So yeah, man, that's my reason for KD2 as my number one favorite album of hip hop album of the year.
Alrighty. So controversial take.
Let's go.
Already. But for me personally, I'm going Donda. I really did. I'm not gonna lie, the album is long, but I feel like it's a lot of stuff that Ye does is like intentional. So I don't feel like he even wants you to listen to that album all the way through. I feel like he wants you to pick which songs you want and which order you want. And I've seen several people mention that, like, oh, I put this song here and like change the order. And I feel like Ye is doing like kind of like almost like experimenting, like he's allowing us to help build the album. Like even the rollout for that album was like him doing a listening party for it, and then tweaking the album based on what people felt like they wanted, or you know what I mean, or the sequencing or whatever the case is, and or the sound or whatever the case is. But he's allowing the listeners to like engage in the creation of the album, which I thought was really, really interesting. And then to also, I mean, and this is kind of separate from just the music of the album, but like to then have also the stem player where you can, it's effectively like an MP3 and an MPC like in one. Like you can and a sampler. You can do all kind of stuff on this, and you can literally like put other songs on it. Oh, where'd Crow go? But yeah, I feel like that was the album that I feel like I listened to the most, and was definitely like just refreshing to hear. It's definitely like a genre bend for sure.
Yeah,
I don't think it's the purest hip hop album by far.
No.
You know, but I feel like it definitely had had an impact.
Yeah, man, that was
and
definitely
a high replay value for me.
Yeah, that was. I feel like that was the biggest event of the year.
That's what I mean. You know what I mean? Like just surely because like Kanye played that album 3 times before. Oh, Crow's back. Kanye had played that album 3 times before Drake dropped, and it was still like people had heard the album 3 times, and Drake dropped his album, and they were still like kind of competing. So that kind of tells you that the album is like kind of has some standing power, and I feel like that's one of those albums that is going to be like more appreciated kind of over time, even if not from like a pure rap. From a pure rap or hip hop standpoint, like from a musical standpoint, I feel like it was really some of the best work that I feel like I've seen from Ye in a long time.
I could dig it. I didn't think. What was the album that Kanye came out with that it took mad long before? Like it came out on Tidal first, and then it took mad. I think it was The Life of Pablo.
Oh yeah.
Pablo, yeah.
So when I heard The Life of Pablo, it was a lot of songs on there I wasn't feeling. And when I think about Donda, even though a number of the records is not really my vibe in terms of what I like listening to, I saw that there was some thought put into, like a lot of thought put into this album. So I know it's definitely one of them albums that you gotta really take your time with. So I could understand why you put it up there.
There's some moments on it.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, would I sit here and say that that is like the most cohesive album? No, you know what I mean? It's definitely bloated, but I feel like that is just so you can kind of mix and match and, you know, like Burger King.
Right, you're right.
Have it your way and like and style the album how you want to.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's definitely an album you could, like you said, you could shuffle it or put your own playlist together.
Yeah, right.
And arrange it. Yeah. So that's what's up, man. So that's number one. So your turn, brother Mark.
Yeah, I'm just putting KD2. That's my number one.
Wonderful.
For the simple fact that it just dominated that whole summer for me. That was that was one of the first albums in a long time that I really could just like listen through all the way. And even, EPMD too. Like that was not everyone's favorite, I guess maybe, but for me, it didn't bother me. And there's just, just from the beginning, the pressure, obviously the Lauryn Hill song, just her, just flaming it, just, reassuring everybody who she is and what's been going on the last 20 years in her life. But there were just so many moments in that album. And then just cohesively, it just all just flowed. And it got to the point where like, even like my wife would be in the car. I was like, can you put that Nas album on? I'm like, sure, no problem. I was like, because she never listens to anything that I listen to. And it was just, it's just now we're at the point where those two guys, obviously you had to dig a little bit, or maybe I did, just to refresh myself in terms of who Hit Boy was, what his catalog was like. And just even now, I feel like this is a sort of a coming out of an evolution for him and an immersion for him as a producer. Really, people really like paying attention to what he's doing, like picking apart the songs sonically and technically and rhythmically. And this, it's just he's at a moment where he's just flourishing. Like everything he touches just. Even the Big Sean collab too. I think he had some heat on there too. But just when you put that with Nas, like it just reminds you, like, yo, this is Nas. Like this is Nas. This is Illmatic. This is the guy who we've been riding with since '94. And he has always been in that conversation in the top MC, and just the voice, the smoothness of the voice, his flow, the subject matter, just everything. It's just so effortless to him. And this is a brother, again, he does not have to rap. Like he could be just straight. He could worry about his businesses and his investments, and to just come in and just still have that lyricism, that talent, that flow, just the art of MCing just be in his blood. It's just a guy. It's a God-born gift. So I just feel just like it's just so blessed to have music coming, just such a high quality. And that's, I'm just going KD2. I'll put KD3 up there right now for 2022. That's, I'll put KD3 up, against the field, at this point. It's just, it's just tough. I hate to like be so blanketing and so generalized with the way, but it's just a real nice thing to see. It's just, shoot, if It Was Written Part 2 came out, I will put that up there too, because it's just one of these things. It's just like the stars align. It's just like you just can't.
That's how promising it is, man. Yeah. Word, man. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
But yeah, it's just one of those things. Just like for me, when like I know we were so high on the Jay Electronica album, it was just kind of like, it's Jay Electronica, it's Jay-Z. Like it's just hey, let them have it. Just, so shoot, if they came out with written testimony, again, I would just be like, all right, cool. But so yeah, KD2.
Wonderful. So I think, we're all most of us are choosing KD2 because A Level chose KD2 as well as number one, you know. But I know J Red, it was in your top five, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, I feel like I went against the grain because I
It's all
knew
good.
I
It's all
knew
good.
that we were all gonna. I feel like every time we do the end of the year, we always give Nas the number one, and we love Nas.
It's kind
So,
of boring. Yeah, it is.
you know what I mean? I didn't want it to be another like,
I wish I had something else.
yeah.
I don't know. Did I give Nas number one last year? I'm not sure. I know he was up in my top five, but
I don't think you did.
yeah, I don't think I did. I forgot what I
I
gave.
feel like I gave. I feel like I might have given Nas number one last
Yeah,
year.
I know I did, but
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when I really sat back and I thought about all of the releases that came this year, I just had to give it to that. Like it just made so much sense. Like I don't know. It wasn't hard. It really wasn't hard making it number one. Even though the other two that I added, I said could interchangeably be number one as well. But like my top three, any one of them could be number one. But I was really this one made a lot of sense. So yeah, man, we got to our number one, man. That's a blessing, man, that we was able to get through all of this. Beautiful that we was able to get through this. Do you guys? So we want to do a couple honorable mentions before we get out of here. And again, thank you to everyone who has tuned in, and checked out this show. If you're catching this on demand, feel free to leave a comment in terms of what your favorite albums of the year was. I'm definitely going to do a longer list. This list is going to involve probably like my top 50 hip hop albums of the year. So I'll make sure I post that to my website, outtheboxmedia.com, so you can go check that out. But yeah, man, it's been a pleasure doing this with you guys tonight. So we're gonna do a round of honorable mentions. So maybe like, you know, 2 or 3 albums that you guys didn't get a chance to mention, that you think was worthy albums, even if they're not in your top 10, maybe they're in your top 20, you know. Do you guys have some honorable mentions you want to offer? All right, awesome. So I guess I'll start, being that I've been going first. So man, I have a lot of honorable mentions, but I'm definitely not gonna say all of them. But just to name a few, who I want to go with. It was so tough, man. Let me go with Funky DL's Beautiful Soul. I really, really like that album. He's a UK MC producer, mostly known for his production. Very, very well produced album. What I love about it is that there's a lot of singing features on there, like that really, really stand out on the album. And he was actually my final interview of 2021 on Out the Box Talks. So his album Beautiful Soul. Let me see what else. Sage Poet dropped an album called Parable of the Chariot, which is another really good album that came out in 2021. He's an artist from Malawi, Africa, that I got a chance to interview on the platform as well. This was a concept album where it's kind of reminiscent of like what you would get from like a Killer Priest, where he's like mixing like his history in story form, and really well produced album as well. Very careful with the lyrics. For him to be an international MC, man, like you don't really get like sometimes you'll hear like a MC from a different, like international, outside of the US, and you hear like the accent, like you don't even hear an accent, like it sounds like he's an MC from out here in the States. So to me, from like if you're like someone who's like hesitant to listen to like MCs with different accents. Like, you don't have to worry about that. Not that that's a problem at all. I've come to like respect MCs from all over, regardless of their accent or their sound. But I just wanted to highlight that, like, he's definitely a student of hip hop, man, and he really puts it in. So Parable of the Chariot is a dope album as well. And I also say honorable mention, Elo Kush and Supreme Cerebral did an album called Clark Connoisseurs 2, and that was also a really good album as well. So yeah, Supreme Cerebral and Elo Kush, yeah, Clark Connoisseurs 2. That's another honorable mention. And I'm sure I have so much more, but and then also Bruiser Wolf's album, Game Stupid.
That was retarded.
Dope album as well. So those are my honorable mentions. But I'm telling you, I have to do my top 50, my top 20 stuff that I know I'm missing. But I'll leave it as that for my honorable mentions. Your turn. You guys can go next.
Oh yeah. I really just I think somebody brought it up too. That Navy Blue, the Navy Blue album that dropped.
Oh yeah. I could have added that too. Yeah,
I gotta figure out what the name of it was.
Yeah, it's called Navy's Reprise.
Oh yeah, Navy's Reprise. Yeah, I thought that was a very solid project, and I really have been like following Navy Blue for like a couple years, and his I feel like his style is just kind of evolving. As well, I would definitely say, and like kind of in relation, I would say, This Thing of Ours, Part 1 and 2, with Alchemist and, all these artists, whether that's Earl or Oldie or Navy Blue. I feel like there were short projects, but they were just very, they were so good and so like tightly wound together thematically. I feel like they deserve to be mentioned.
Indeed. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Navy Blue, man. Yeah, Navy's Reprise was a really, really good album. Yeah. I didn't really hear too much people talking about it, but it's definitely one of the better albums that came out.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I gotta definitely revisit that. I probably was stuck in Nasland at that time.
And it took a while for it to be released on streaming platforms. I think that's one of the reasons why people probably didn't talk about it much, but it eventually came out. And yeah, man, dope project.
Yeah, This Thing of Ours, that was a dope project. I was really caught off guard just by the choice of MCs, because it wasn't the typical circle that Alchemist works with. But shout out to Mike, the Bruiser Brigade, that was dope. And again, I keep talking about Vince Staples till I'm blue in the face.
Right. Oh man,
that song, I think it's called The Five Heartbeats or something like that. The beat alone is just so smooth and just slick. But he comes on there, man, and he's saying some stuff. He said, I've been doing this long enough to see a Glock jam. I'm like, Glocks don't jam. So how you going to see, like, is this little slick stuff? Like, Vince is not even, Vince is maybe like 27, 26, something like that. But that brother, he makes me laugh. He really does. Like some of the stuff he said.
I gotta listen to more of his music, man.
Yeah, this is cool, man. Like, and again, it's just the palette. Like, there's some albums that are just they're just not for everybody. They're different genres, kind of not even really in the hip hop like zone. But once he's in his hip hop bag, like the brother's fluid. What else can I say? Oh, the Abstract Mind State. That was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
Basically, Abstract Mind State. We're on your show. Close friends, brother and sister. No, not really brother and sister, but close friends of Kanye, childhood, longtime friends. And amongst all the Donda, sort of rollout build up, he basically calls these two people up and was like, hey, I want to take it back. and they put together this album, and it's just classic Kanye. And still, you don't really hear. I mean, I heard about it when, like, in the beginning, but it just, I don't know. Maybe I just haven't paid attention or what have you. But it's a real cool thing to see. Kanye, and it's just the most, like, the biggest magnifying glass on because of Donda, and that project being so hyped and so boosted up, and then it just him dropping with these two MCs, this really pleasant and refreshing project, Abstract Mind State. I forget what
Dream Still Inspire.
Stream Still Inspired. That's right.
Yeah.
And
produced entirely by Kanye West.
Yeah, they actually broke down why they chose that. Right, they chose that title and those words. So yeah, that was a strong one. And shout out to my brother Conway. He came out, I think, early in 2021, right after King to a God. He came out with a project called La Maquina, I think that's called.
Yes.
And it's a different vibe, a different chamber. It feels more like a mixtape, but it came out like right after, like a couple of months after, King to a God, which, I would have never done if I was him, because I was like, the album is just King to a God was so great. Why wouldn't you just let that rock, and just reap the benefits from that? But he just, that's as an artist, he just felt the need to express it. I thought it was a solid project. So I definitely, I would say towards the beginning of the year, I had it in my top 10, and just, there's just so many good projects that come out. But, again, Kanye, he just, he did his thing on Evidence's album. Of course, he got it in on Hitler Wears Hermes, and, they had a great tour. I forget what the tour was, but they were all out on tour, just tearing it up at NYC, and bringing out Meth and Red and all. You just bringing it all together, just bringing it all full circle. So I expect more good things to come from Conway. So
indeed. Yeah, man.
Also, honorable mention, yourself, Krill.
Yes.
Big ups to y'all, man.
I was about to get to that. A-level, the Wiz. That is his one and only honorable mention. So it was top 5, not 10, but top 5. And then, Krill getting the honorable mention. So that's a big up, man. That's just, we all, I mean, I'm not going to steal your thunder, but we all just, we just stood back amazed when that project dropped.
Man.
It was J-Ray, you can chime in whenever you want to, but it was just great to see, hearing, a couple of singles drop on Bandcamp, we were really excited about, but then, it seemed like it was kind of serendipitous the way you came up. It's like, yo, I have enough songs for the whole album. I was going to do an EP, but I found out that, this could be a whole album. So he dropped the album, and then this is it. And, just everything, man, like you do everything, just putting everything on your back. Obviously, all the lyrics, and the production as well too. Just a really just cohesive, thorough album. Just a great sound. Just classic boom bap. What you would expect from Krill. Just right. He's a fan of that classic boom bap. That dirty underground, but real conscious, and uplifting, you know what I mean? Like, even, just discussing, transitions in his life. When the moment he just realized, like, he had to quit his job and just, like, pursue his dream. I know that was a real harrowing experience, with sort of a child to take care of and a family to take care of, and just be able to reflect back on that. Must be a blessing just to have recorded that album, and looking back at those times and seeing where you're at right now, in a more comfortable spot. But yeah, man, it's just the recap of a it came at the end of the year, so it was nice because you could just reflect on everything else. You writing the book, and getting to your 100th episode, and the list goes on in terms of, like, the accolades and the achievements, and just you staying focused. So yeah, I was real pleased with that joint. I was just like, I didn't even know you rhymed, first of all, until you dropped the first joint. I was like, with the reintroduction, I was like, it's kind of cool because the title was reintroduction, like you introducing yourself. But that's how I felt. I was like, yo, I'm getting introduced to a guy who already been rhyming, so I'm catching up. So yeah, it was just cool to see that happen too. That was definitely a highlight of the year. So
No word, man.
Yeah, man.
I really enjoyed Know Your Worth off that, man.
Thank
Um,
you, brother. Yeah.
I think that was probably one of my favorite joints. But yeah, like I was telling you earlier, man. Like to be to write your own like raps is one thing, but then to also produce all the beats on top of that is like it's a Herculean effort. You know what I mean? To like be bouncing all those ideas with yourself, like how you want to construct the beat and how you want to rhyme over that beat. To just be like by yourself doing all of that is like, you know what I mean, is incredible. So we just want to shout out you, bro. Sure.
Oh, thank y'all so much, man. Like, honestly, wasn't even expecting an honorable mention or anything. So it means a lot, man. Yeah, man. Big ups to A Level for putting me in the honorable mention, man. That means a lot from brothers like y'all who, are definitely students of the music, you know. And I'm excited, man. I got more music that I'm gonna be putting out. So, you know, I it's a little surreal too to be able to, to be doing this, like interviewing artists and be tapped in for so long, and then now kind of coming back and putting out music, yeah. So for those that might not know, that's my new album, my debut album, Krill Growth and Balance. It's on digital streaming platforms now. It's also on Bandcamp if you want to support there. But yeah, man, it's a labor of love putting that album out. Like I said, it wasn't initially supposed to be an album, it was supposed to be an EP, but in the midst of me kind of just like going through the duration of the songs, I was like, oh, it's gonna be over 30 minutes with just 9 tracks. So I can do an album. And I had to like literally research that because I was like, what qualifies something technically as an album? And I was like, oh, everything I read was saying that as long as it doesn't even matter how many tracks, it's like as long, I mean, typically it's about 9 or 10 tracks, at least. But as long as it said, as long as you go over 30 minutes, it's an album. So, the beautiful thing about recording that is that I didn't really waste any beats, which is crazy. Like,
Mhm.
it was an urgency of, I don't want to, it was like a urgency of like not wasting time, because I knew I needed to get it out last year. So it was like, whatever, I did all the beats and then I was just like, I'm just going to use what I have.
Mhm.
And the sequencing of it, I didn't know where what was going. I knew Know Your Worth was going to be first, but like everything else, I didn't know where they were going to go, and it was just amazing. I feel like it was God sent how I was able to like work out the sequencing where I was like, oh man, like it actually works. Everything where I placed everything. So yeah, that album was meant to be the way it came out, to be honest with you. Like, and I'm still amazed as to how it came out that way. But yeah, I'm very humbled and appreciative, man, that you guys
Of course.
recognize it as you know, honorable mention. Very, very appreciate that, man. So yo, man, it was a pleasure, rocking with y'all. Shout out to everybody that's been tuning in. I think Solutions had asked if we had yeah, we did speak on Magic, the Nas album, if that was your question. We did do our reaction to that. We spoke on that, if that's what you mean. And I know a few other people were mentioning some stuff in the chat too. I know Solution said that he thinks KD3 might have been already done, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. It's only time will tell when we see it released, but I think we'll probably get it more than likely this year. Big Z said that he's been bumping the disco album by Mike. This is another album I need to go check out as well.
Yeah.
I did listen to it, skim through it a little bit, but I need to go back to it. Amin Black said the Rome Streets and DJ Muggs album was one of his I think he's album of the year. So Amin Black said that. Also Uncle John, as a man think is crazy fresh. Amin Black also said that too. And also in the chat. Yeah, so I think that was it. I wanted to mention that. But yeah, man, the interesting thing about this year, about 2021, it was just so much releases, man. Like I think I even have to do I don't know if we'll do a show for this, but at least a list for soul albums this year. And I think Mark, you'll probably be interested in that too. And and I also open it up to you too, Brother J Red, if you want to like send a list of like favorite soul albums this year, even if you don't have 10, like maybe your top 5 or whatever.
Sure.
I don't mind posting it up too. And our handles, I know is asking about our social media handles. So mine's is Out the Box Media, at Out the Box Media on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And you guys want to share your handles for the people to know?
Oh yeah. Mine is just underscore Jared Kemp on Instagram.
All right, dope. And Mark.
I don't know my handle. I have one, but I really can't tell you what it is.
I feel like you got a long handle.
It is bad long, yeah.
What?
It is shoot. Oh, it's at. Nobody wants my handle. Nobody wants it. No, no. If you want, it's at Mingus Monk Miles Mark.
Right, I knew it.
A long time, right?
Mingus Monk Miles Mark. Just the progression is linear.
Dope. So yeah, man. I thank everyone that's been tuning in tonight. I appreciate y'all. We have been here for almost 3 hours, guys. So this was a long.
Just getting started.
It was worth it. I knew we couldn't do more than 10 because you see let's see the time right now, right?
Crazy. But yeah, I think that's how it was last year too, though. I think. I don't know.
But I think it was well overdue. And I'm glad I got this out because I've been holding this list for a while. And now I can freely talk about my favorite album. So yeah, man, it's been a pleasure with y'all. And I want to thank everyone again for tuning in. Make sure y'all go to the website outtheboxmedia.com, become a subscriber there for free so you could stay connected with the platform. Also, if you would like, I know I had it up earlier, if you would like to donate to the platform, you can send donations to Cash App at #OutTheBoxRep or paypal.me/OutTheBoxMedia. It helps to keep this platform running. I will say that, most people that check this platform might not know that you guys check for me for the Out the Box Talks interviews. And I will be taking a break in this month of January at the very least from doing interviews. So I probably won't start until about February. But I do have plans to keep the channel running and doing like some shows where we talk about, things going on in hip hop culture. So look for me to go live more often. But other than that, man, I thank everybody for tuning in and just rocking with us on this platform, man. And thank you, especially to you brothers, man, who have consistently been supporters and just participants of such great discussion on this platform. My brother Mark and my brother J Red, man. Thank you for still sticking with us, J Red. You know what I mean?
Of course, man.
And yeah, man, we are gonna close out. Any last things y'all want to say before we break out for the night?
Oh man, Happy New Year,
thank you for having us, man.
Yes, happy 2022.
Happy 2022.
Yes, man. So we will catch y'all on the next show. And I'll be conversing with my brothers to see what next show makes sense for us to do together. But yes, man, happy 2022 to everyone out there. I know the world is going through some challenging times right now, with the pandemic, with COVID and everything. So I pray that people out there are doing better and healing, and that this 2022 brings good vibes and good energy and just overall goodness. May it be a better year than we experienced in 2021, even though we're going through a lot. I look forward to be doing a lot more on this platform. So, again, thank you to all the listeners and the fans of Out the Box. You guys mean a whole lot, man. And all the best to y'all in 2022. And like that, we are going to be out of here. Like my brother A-Level say, what about peace? What happened to peace?
Hey.
Peace. Yeah.
Okay.